The girl transmigrated into a pure love novel where her younger brother is the protagonist. She originally wanted to happily ship the CP, but found out ridiculously that, as long as her brother kicks the bucket, she would return to the day she just transmigrated. Even more ridiculously, her brother is actually the type to attract countless miscellaneous admirers, and could die with the slightest carelessness. When she first transmigrated, Lit, unaware of the reincarnation, silently cheered for her brother in her heart. Anyway, he would be sooner or later. And then finally, as the plot developed, her brother indeed, just like in the book, was forced by his cousin. Unable to bear the humiliation, he chose to end his life at the age of 20. But Lit tragically discovered that she had returned to the beginning. In order to break the fate of reincarnation, Lit was determined to protect her brother, using the washing machine to wash his bib, comforting him when he was sad, and protecting him when Zhao Gong harassed him. But with a little carelessness, her brother was still killed by Zhao Gong. She returned to the beginning again. This time, she decided to try hard to forge her brother into a strong person. Just as her brother lived up to expectations and became a sword master, he was suddenly kissed by a wild gong. Unable to bear the humiliation, he chose to end himself. Fourth reincarnation. Lit decided to carry out all-round training for her brother, sending him to school and the knights to be trained. But at the age of 20, she received his urn. Fifth reincarnation. Numbed, Lit decided to start slacking off. Anyway, no matter how hard she tried, her brother would kick the bucket. But her brother instead smoothly ushered in his 21st birthday, just as Lit excitedly called the police, and her brother thought the reincarnation was over. A red-haired woman walked in with a long sword. "Asiba, how dare you seduce my man? Go to hell." After saying that, she rushed towards Lit with her sword. Her brother was killed with one sword to protect her. Lit collapsed. Is this never going to end? Sixth reincarnation. Lit decided that instead of improving her brother, it would be better to make herself stronger too, prevent the tragedy of her brother dying for her. So she happily ran to the magic tower on the top of the mountain to learn magic. Unexpectedly, she could skillfully control the element of thunder. Even if she reincarnated infinitely due to her brother's repeated deaths, the knowledge in her mind would be preserved forever. In the constant reincarnation, she became more and more interested in magic. At this time, the teacher was over 100 years old, only because he had cultivated 6 magic soul rings. His body had long stopped aging. Lit finally found joy in the endless reincarnation. Going to school made her happy, just as she had trained to add half magic soul rings, and was preparing to try casting a spell. She had only just uttered 2 words when her handsome brother died again. Just like that, in the 10th reincarnation, Lit became famous for publishing a paper on the properties of thunder. She happily enjoyed the praise of everyone, and then looked at her teacher with relief. The teacher also looked at her with tears in his eyes, just as the two were about to hug to celebrate. Lit hugged empty air. She returned to the same point again. Lit rolled her eyes speechlessly. How could she forget that she still had an unlucky brother? In the 11th reincarnation, Lit had her own lover. Her brother not only healthily passed the age of 20, but also had a handsome husband. Everything was developing smoothly. But just as Lit and her lover wanted to drink cross-cupped orange juice, her brother rushed over and took a small sip first. Unexpectedly, that small sip caused him to be drained of the drink. Lit angrily told this third wheel to stay away from them. But the next second, her brother vomited 300 pounds of blood. It turned out that the drink was poisoned. In the 12th reincarnation, Lit finally couldn't hold back anymore. Losing her mind, she grabbed her brother and flew into a rage. Her brother, not knowing why, apologized to her in tears. After calming down, Lit gritted her teeth. This was not her brother's fault. If she had to blame someone, she could only blame this damn reincarnation. She would not give up. So this time, she summoned all the teachers to train him. She was determined to save him. A few years later, her brother was drinking tea with his boyfriend. His boyfriend casually joked, "If this tea is poisoned, no one would know even if we were both poisoned." As soon as he finished speaking, he vomited blood and died. Her brother cried, "Why am I okay? Could it be that I'm immune to poison?" Lit was very pleased with this. It seemed that the years of training had not been in vain. After that, she confidently set off on her little electric scooter, arriving at the magic tower she had been longing for, just as she was immersed in the teacher's training, and sighing that she had finally broken free from her shackles and was heading for happiness. A classmate suddenly told her that something big had happened. Go out and have a look. Her brother was currently in a fierce battle with the master of the tower. Evil master of the tower, quickly release my sister. Lit was a little confused looking at this scene, and her brother also noticed his sister's arrival. Just as he was smiling and greeting Lit, the master of the tower's attack also reached him. Her brother's blood splattered on Lit's face. The master of the tower looked at Lit in confusion. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and drag the body away." She reincarnated again. All her efforts turned into nothing again. Despairing, Lit began a decadent life, no longer caring about how her brother was living. Anyway, he must be dead again. She didn't want to live anymore either. But even if she ended her life, the reincarnation did not stop. She only remembered that she kept crying later on, until the 20th reincarnation ushered in a turning point. This time, Lit found her body unusually heavy. She couldn't help but want to look in the mirror, but she was stunned by her reflection the moment she looked up. She looked so mature that she didn't look like a 16-year-old. Suddenly, a black shadow flashed past. It was heading towards her brother's residence. Sensing the danger, she immediately broke through the window and chased after it. Protecting her brother had become her instinct. Even though she knew that her brother's ending was still inevitable, she couldn't help but follow with a gossipy heart. The black shadow disappeared into a basement. She used the electromagnetic waves of the Fender element to open the door lock. But what was inside stunned her. The girl transmigrated into a pure love novel where her younger brother is the protagonist. She originally wanted to ship the CP happily, but was dismayed to find that, as long as her brother died, she would return to the day of transmigration. Just as he was experiencing endless reincarnation, and was almost in despair, the girl was taken to a basement by a dark figure. Opening the door, she was surprised to find a magic sword exuding an evil aura, being bound by chains. Generally speaking, a normal person would definitely not touch this sword, but our female lead is obviously not normal. Just as she touched the hilt of the sword, the chains and restrictive spells around it broke. His consciousness was pulled into an absolute space. A strange voice echoed in his mind. You are not the main body's contractor. Roserick. The original owner sacrificed his life when signing the contract. Only because your soul is closest to his, you became his substitute and lived for 65 years with the original owner's will. This is also the reason why you can't escape the cycle. As long as you help the original owner fulfill his wish, you can be freed from the endless cycle. Lit excitedly asked the magic sword, what is the original owner's will? The magic sword replied, the original owner's wish is to fulfill his younger brother's wish. However, just as the girl asked him what her brother's wish was, the magic sword said it didn't know either. Lit immediately cracked. You're useless. The scolded magic sword suddenly trembled. Lit didn't expect the magic sword to get angry. The magic sword explained, 1. The contractor's substitute is under extreme pressure. The main body will go berserk. When Lit woke up, she had already slaughtered the entire duchy with the magic sword. Lit vomited blood while cursing the author. Why didn't you tell me about such a perverted setting earlier? Suddenly, a dark figure appeared behind him. Her brother drew his sword against him with a face of disbelief. Sister, why are you going on a killing spree? From the beginning, I just wanted to be with you. After speaking, he used the Iggy's embrace and decapitate technique. Lit, who was spewing blood, vomited blood. It turned out that her brother had been sticking to him like a tag-along since he was young. Sticking to him. He also didn't want him to marry. Now he was saying, I love you over and over again. It turned out that he accidentally turned him into a yander. Unlocked it. After that, Lit lost consciousness because the plot twist was too outrageous. Lost consciousness. When he woke up, it was already the 21st reincarnation. He once again returned to a peaceful 16 years old. Knowing the method to break the cycle, he felt particularly comfortable. Even looking at the 3 maids, he found them lively and cute. Especially Becky. She was not only smart, but also diligent. That's why she was sent to him as a spy by crab relatives. That damn woman. She was the one who poisoned the lemonade, causing him and his brother to die several times. Lit looked at Becky with a fake smile. Thank you for your hard work. Now you're fired. Becky, with a confused look, looked confused. Lit was overjoyed. Hurry up and get out of here. Then he called Aster. He is not only an excellent knight, but most importantly, in the previous reincarnations, he was never fascinated by his brother. And he also has a strong muscle. It's not because he's horny. Lit took out a handwritten letter of appointment and made Aster his exclusive knight. Then he stuffed it directly into the other person's mouth to prevent Aster from refusing. Then he asked the maid to call Dylan. He is the culprit who tortured his brother to death in every reincarnation. He is also Lit's cousin. Lit proudly informed him that he would soon be kicked out of the family. Dylan thought he was crazy. You little shrimp dare to threaten me. He immediately refused to be outdone. No matter how crazy I am, I'm not as crazy as you pervert. Then, he was about to tell Louis all the dirty things Dylan had done to his brother. Tell Louis. Uncle, I advise you to pack up and get out of here as soon as possible. You can still save some face for yourself. Dylan, in a fit of anger, could only get angry. Just you wait. I won't let you succeed. Lit clearly knew that you can't be soft-hearted when dealing with such shameless people. Now, as long as he includes his brother, Lien, in the family register and removes Dylan from the register, it will be a great success. Buster was worried that Dylan would retaliate against Lit. Lit disdainfully said that kind of trash didn't have the guts to retaliate against him. Besides, isn't there you, a reliable knight to protect me? At this moment, the maid suddenly ran in a panic. Young master, something bad has happened. Dylan shut Li-en up. Before she could finish speaking, Lit stuffed her mouth with paper. As long as you don't say it, the audience won't know what happened. That means Li-en is still safe and sound. The maid bit Lit's hand. What are you kidding me? The audience wants to see it. Otherwise, they wouldn't like it. Li-en died again as expected. It was the 22nd reincarnation. The first thing Lit did when he woke up was to order the maids to bring Li-en. Just you wait. You scum. I'm going to use the ultimate move I've honed for 65 years to make you die a horrible death a moment later. Li-en sat in front of Lit, trembling. At this time, he was just a servant in the mansion and had not been officially recognized by the Duke's mansion. Lit looked at him with satisfaction. This shy and delicate appearance is very charming. No wonder Dylan is obsessed with him. As soon as Li-en heard Dylan's name, he knelt on the ground with a thud. He apologized in a panic, full of fear. Lit considerately lifted his brother's face. Don't say anything. Get up quickly. My lovely little brother. Congratulations on becoming a member of the Duke's family. Just as Li-en was surprised, Lit immediately stuffed a cookie into his mouth, not allowing him to refuse. It seems Li-en is very confused about the current situation, but it doesn't matter. Lit vows he will definitely let him grow up healthy and happy in the future. Then he pulled him to see his Duke father. Dylan, you pervert. You're going to suffer. He is the strongest Voldemort in history. If his brother wants 100 million in pocket money, he gives it. If his brother wants a golden crown, he gives it too. Even if his brother wants his head to kick as a ball, Lit will give it to him without hesitation. Because as long as his brother kicks the bucket, he will return to the day he transmigrated, in order to let his brother get rid of Zagong's entanglement. Lit directly went to the Duke's father to complain. Request to include Li-en in the family tree and then punish Dylan. After Dylan heard this, he roared at Lit dissatisfied. What nonsense are you talking about, you trash? What? You dare to say I'm trash? Then isn't the room I'm in a trash can? Then the Duke who is in it is also trash? Okay, you dare to insult the Duke as trash. Duke Wenyan immediately announced that he was sentenced to death. Execute immediately. Dylan is shocked. Are you too crazy? The Duke quickly stamped to stamps. Sign the document to include Li-en in the family tree. But to execute this bastard, it must be approved by your uncle. Then he threw the document to Lit. I'm busy to death. I give you 1 day to get this done. Lit, who got the document, looked at Dylan playfully. Oh my, someone is going to suffer. Dylan was provoked and became angry. He pulled out a dagger and was about to stab Lit. But the next second, Aster kicked him away. Of course I know you're not that easy to deal with. Otherwise, do you think I brought knights for equipment? Aster break his arms and legs for me. Then he educated the gift that was sweating coldly. Did you see it? If you are bullied by others, you must pay it back twice. Then he came to Uncle Louis's room to complain. Lit dumped all the clothes that his uncle wanted to wash on the ground. Louis asked in confusion, aren't these for the servants to wash? The next second, Lit put his arm around him affectionately and asked, because that servant has better things to do. Then, he accused Dylan of the dirty things he did to Li-en, and demanded that the family execute him. The devastated Louis immediately agreed to the death penalty. Did you see it? It's that simple to deal with scum. Just as the two were about to leave, a man with a cane approached. Lit, I accidentally overheard your conversation. I heard you want to execute Dylan. Although it may seem presumptuous to say so, please forgive him. I will compensate you as much as possible. Lit looked at the other party's handsome face. Then he remembered. He is Louis, the child born to Uncle Louis's current wife and her ex-husband. In other words, a son with no blood relation to the family. Therefore, he is not only tortured by the family's disciple, Benjamin, but also teased by his younger brother, Dylan. He also broke a leg in an accident. Even so, Glenn intercedes for Dylan because only if Dylan is there, Benjamin won't hurt Glenn. As life. If Dylan dies easily, their mother and son will also face the fate of being slaughtered. Thinking about it this way, Glenn is quite pitiful. Lit sighed softly, okay. I promise you. Glenn couldn't believe it. Really. Just kidding. After saying that, Lit called Aster and was about to leave. Glenn quickly begged, Miss, please give him another chance. I can guarantee that Dylan didn't do it on purpose. Not on purpose. Forcibly taking a good man and you say he didn't do it on purpose. Besides, is this the attitude of asking for help? Shouldn't you kneel down to me? Listen carefully. When asking others for help, Being humble is the most basic attitude. After saying that, he bid farewell to him with a bright smile. In any case, Dylan will not escape death. Good luck to you. Leaving Glenn standing there in the wind a mess. Lit thought that even if he was useless, he was still a noble. He would never kneel to him. Soon he was slapped in the face. Dylan personally came to the door and knelt down. Please, I want to live. It turned out that just a few hours ago, Dylan was executed by Lit, but the Duke's family was as busy as ever. No one cared about Dylan's life or death. Aster lifted Lit and placed him next to the dining table. Miss, eat breakfast before you look at it. At this time, Li-En came to see the little master. I wonder if you are in good health. Who still says that kind of thing now? Just say good morning to me and call me sister. Li-En shyly opened his mouth. Gee, good morning, sister. Lit was charmed by his brother's appearance. He reached out to get a banana for him to eat, but Aster twisted his wrist. But that's my banana. Lit rubbed his wrist. Who said that? Didn't you see that I wrote my name on it? Lit comforted Li-En. It's okay. Feel free to eat it. Aster has many siblings at home, so he is more protective of his food. A moment later, Lit took out a pile of portraits worth 79. These are the Crown Princess candidates recommended by our family. Which one do you think is good? Lit knew that. The Crown Prince was also a scum who was obsessed with his brother, so letting him get married early is the only way Li-En can be safe. At this time, Glenn came again to intercede for Dylan, but Dylan kicked the bucket in the morning. He knelt directly on the ground. I want to live. Lit ignored him and continued, let's do our thing. A few hours later, Dylan knelt motionless in place. Li-En and Aster couldn't bear it, and the two persuaded at the same time, why don't we listen to what he wants to say? But Lit said that he had nothing to say to him. The two had no choice but to give up at this time. Li-En suddenly found his sister's name on the list. Lit thought his brother was joking, but the next second, he couldn't laugh anymore. He really had a joke about himself recommended. The reason was that he was extremely well matched with a masochist. Lit took a picture of a radish and asked which yard recommended it. Li-En nervously answered that it was Uncle Louis. The next second, the photo frame smashed on Glenn's head, the sucker. Fresh blood flowed from his forehead. Uncle must be crazy. When night fell, Glenn was still kneeling in place, motionless. Li-En and Aster felt sorry for him. At this time, Lit said it was getting late. Let's go back to sleep and take that copper kneeling on the ground statue to the guest room. Also, take 3 servants to knock on the Marquis's mansion. That way, they won't hurt innocent people. Glenn immediately showed a grateful expression, just about to thank her. Lit cast a cold look. You're so useless. I'm really disappointed. I'll call you when you're useful. So get lost. A few days later, Lit, this great filial daughter, actually fought with the Duke, her own father. This pair of women fought over the royal invitation. The father didn't hesitate to disfigure his daughter. The daughter even ambushed her father's kidneys from behind. What a scene of filial piety and paternal love. It turned out that in order to find a suitable crown princess, the palace would hold regular banquets. As long as you accept the invitation to the banquet, you can rightfully enjoy the holiday. And the other person who didn't get the invitation would take on all the work in the family. So when they saw the royal carriage arrive at the mansion, Lit and Aster would show that Wolf-like expression. Then she ordered Aster to take her and run quickly. Just as Aster was rushing forward with Lit at all costs, the Duke also rushed up closely behind. The Duke immediately told William to intercept Lit for 2 years, and also told Aster to block William. The two immediately wrestled together. Aster, you've gotten fat. How dare you attack your father? Old man, you're already an old bone. Don't do a dang swordplay anymore. The Duke and Lit rushed towards the gate desperately. Soon Lit caught up with the Duke. What's wrong? It seems you're really old. Shouldn't you show some filial piety to your old father? Then a season. A hand knife chopped on Lit's 1.8-meter bridge of the nose. Lit felt the strong killing intent from his father. Finally, he knelt on the ground in despair. The Duke stood in front of the gate with his hands behind his back, with the posture of a victor. It seems I've won. I didn't want to be so ruthless, but this is all for your own good. I will at the banquet find you a capable mother to share your work. I'll leave it to you these few days. Unexpectedly, the next second, Lit hit him with a light-speed spinning kick. The old demon Duke spat out a mouthful of old blood instantly. I was almost persuaded by you. Don't think about finding a new love. Think about how to write a self-criticism to my birth mother. The royal envoy just got off the carriage and saw Lit covered in blood, opening the door with a bright smile. He was very puzzled as to why the Duke's daughter was covered in blood. And here, Aster also successfully solved her father. William used his own blood on the ground to write the three big characters on filial daughter. Aster showed a gratified smile. Then she and Lit celebrated their victory with an elbow bump. Long live unfilial daughters. The next day, Lit, who got a vacation, felt like she was 80 years younger. She set off with the convoy early in the morning, but when she arrived at the palace, it was empty. Miss, are we too early? We're just in time. Lit showed a sinister smile. I plan to bribe a servant to find out about the situation in the palace in advance and get acquainted with the guests. At this moment, suddenly, a strange blonde man appeared in front of her. It turned out to be the crown prince. He greeted Lit warmly, but Lit knew that he was actually a smiling tiger who liked to provoke the relationship between the four major families the most. And in the previous reincarnation, he also made Lit a difficult crown princess, thereby turning the royal family upside down. Lit quietly reminded Aster that no matter what he said, just laugh at him. Then she showed a professional fake smile. I wonder if His Royal Highness the Crown Prince is well. It seems you've been waiting for me. The Crown Prince also said with a smile, ha ha. You write to urge me to get married every day. I'm worried that your hand will be worn short. As long as you can get rid of being a miserable single dog as soon as possible. I wouldn't mind breaking 10 hands. That's what you say. But I see your little hands are white and clean. I'm afraid you found a college student to be a black slave to write for you, right? Well, even if you suddenly kick the bucket, your letters won't be interrupted. Oh my, even the royal family has to. Enjoy peace under the protection of the Locksburg Duke family. Don't worry about my little life. Hey, ha ha ha. You're right. Then I'll go first. Lit also smiled and said, we're leaving too. Just as the crown prince turned to leave, Lit and Aster's smiles came to an abrupt end. That bastard is on par with me. Oh right, I still have a lot to ask Miss. Unexpectedly, as soon as the crown prince turned his head, he saw Lit, showing the international friendly jewelry drawn with a pen. Aster quickly explained, Miss is showing off her ring. Lit also quickly echoed, yes, yes, my middle finger. Is my Abu ring good looking, Your Highness? Unexpectedly, the crown prince also smiled and raised two middle fingers. Haha, I brought two of them. Lit cursed in her heart. The crown prince is indeed a bastard. This is Aster, asking Lit to give him her hand. He was very happy about this hard-won opportunity. He was very happy. Although the Duke's food is delicious, but the royal banquet should have more delicacies. After all, this opportunity was bought with his father's blood, in order not to lose money. He's been starving since yesterday. Then, just as he told Miss to go get something to eat, immediately he revealed an expression of wanting to laugh, but not daring to. Aster didn't think much of it, and turned to leave. Just as the two of them finished registering their identities, the maid loudly announced, the young lady of the Roxburgh Duke's family enters, instantly attracting everyone's attention. The crowd swarmed forward, surrounding the two of them tightly. By the time Aster reacted, he realized that Lit had disappeared, and Lit had already slipped away at this moment. He came to the dining area, shedding tears of sympathy for Aster. Let you enjoy this honor for me. Don't worry. I'll write a good food review for you. However, just as he happily wanted to enjoy the crab legs, a familiar voice sounded from behind, Miss, may I have this dance? Lit looked at the other party with disgust, then plunged his hand into the thick soup. Ups, Your Highness, my hand is a little dirty, not very suitable for dancing. As the saying goes, enemies meeting are especially filled with animosity. Crown Prince, who did you have to provoke? You just had to provoke our female lead with the best mental state. The girl secretly flipped him off behind his back, but was caught red-handed by the person himself. The knight beside him quickly smoothed things over. Miss is just showing off her ring. Unexpectedly, the crown prince also raised two middle fingers without backing down. What a coincidence. I brought two. At the ball, the crown prince invited Lit to dance. Lit looked at the other party with disgust, then plunged his hand into the thick soup. Ups, Your Highness, my hand is a little dirty, not very suitable for dancing. Unexpectedly, the crown prince, this clever guy, was prepared. With a snap of his fingers, he had a maid bring a towel. Lit was puzzled. This bastard clearly hates him. Why does he still have to stick to him? Unexpectedly, while dancing, the crown prince actually inquired about Li An's situation. Lit's face darkened. You want to seduce my younger brother so soon? You're dead. Then he changed his face like in a Sichuan opera. Yes, my younger brother is just too cute. Does His Highness the Crown Prince also have older sisters and younger sisters? If you want to maintain family harmony, I advise you to be careful. So if anyone dares to have designs on him, then they're dead. The Crown Prince didn't care about his threat at all, but was even more interested The two greeted each other warmly. Miss dances really well. It's hard to believe that a clumsy homebody can dance with such agile steps. Thank you for the compliment. I should thank your highness instead. Your trembling hands helped me relax my waist muscles. The moment the two turned to leave, they both wished the other would die. Lit looked around and soon found Aster, who was surrounded by people after being scolded by Aster. Lit pointed to the food and told him to start his performance. Aster thought that this was bought with his father's blood, an opportunity he earned. Then he began to gorge himself. Lit thought that while he was enjoying comfort here, his father was probably still working overtime due to the piled-up official duties. Then he turned to look at Aster. Are you happy? How about we don't go home? As for the crown prince, he was worrying about how to threaten him. Little did he know that two shadows were quietly approaching behind him. Just as he was considering stopping, Lit suddenly came to his ear and gently breathed, Your Highness, I don't want to go back tonight. The crown prince's face twisted in disgust. Miss, are you and your father both crazy? Haha, did my father do this to you too? I can pay for accommodation. The crown prince couldn't stand his disgusting behavior, so he had to agree. Just don't flirt with me anymore. Does this disgust you? Then don't you feel disgusted every time you look in the mirror? The crown prince directly lost it. What nonsense are you talking about? Why are you following me? Lit smiled shyly. I'm going to your bedside to sing you a lullaby. The crown prince finally collapsed, shouting, Quick, take them to the guest room. A moment later, Stuart discovered that a room not far away was emitting an unusual aura. His intuition told him that there was something strange inside. Lit activated his antenna radar. There was indeed a magical power inside. The two followed the magical power and came to a locked room. Just as Aster was about to use physical means to open the door, Lit stopped him. Lit asked the maid to call the palace's magician, and then used the magnetic waves of the lightning element to open the lock. Then he pushed Aster in to check the situation. He saw a jar on the table emitting black gas. Lit approached and took a look. It was actually a cursed doll. This is a type of black magic and mental magic, but the curse power is not strong. At most, it will make people feel sore or exhausted. No wonder the crown prince looked like he had kidney deficiency after dancing. At this time, the court magician arrived. When he saw the cursed doll, the magician was shocked. If the news that there was a cursed doll hidden in the palace spread, his life would be in danger. Lit promised him that as long as he found out the source of the black magic, he could keep it a secret for him. Then he took out a bill and said to the maid, Take this, and forget everything that just happened. Immediately, the maid righteously refused. How can I betray my conscience for a mere tip? But when she opened her eyes, she saw Lit holding a box of gold bars and looking at her. The maid immediately took the box. You have a good eye. Just like that, Lit and Aster play. Until the next day before returning to the manor, Li En had been waiting at the Duke's manor gate for a long time. Light couldn't help but pinch Li En's cute cheeks. How could this kid be so cute? Is he researching every day how to become even cuter? Just as the two were about to return to the palace together, Light sensed an aura from the surroundings. It was the same evil aura that the demon sword emitted back then. He then remembered that he needed to fulfill Li En's wish. It wasn't just simply letting him live. So he grabbed Li En's shoulders and asked what his wish was, whether it's material or spiritual. I can fulfill it for you. Li En blushed and apologized. I'm sorry. I haven't really thought about it yet, but as long as I can be with sister, I'm very happy. Light immediately realized he was too impatient and repeatedly comforted Li En that it was okay. Tell him when you think of it, whether it's the Duke's position or the lives of those scumbags, as long as he wants it, I can do it for him. After sending Li En back to his room, Light quickly ran to the basement. Since Aster can sense the aura of the curse, then why didn't she sense the existence of the demon sword? However, just as he arrived at the basement, Light discovered that the door was wide open. The chains and the sword that were originally in the room had disappeared. A few days later, Light seriously asked Aster, Do you think swords can talk? Miss, are you crazy? Do you need to get your brain checked? Just then, the royal carriage arrived again. The two once again revealed their wolf-like eyes. The next second, Aster grabbed Light and ran wildly. William, carrying the Duke on his back, followed closely behind. The master and servant were full of confidence. It's okay. We will definitely win. The era of the old men is over. However, the next second, the Duke actually pulled out a pistol, unlike you. Times have changed. The Duke and his daughter fought fiercely to win the royal invitation. What a scene of Filial piety between father and daughter. Unexpectedly, a few days later, the royal carriage arrived again. The master and servant once again revealed their wolf-like eyes. The next second, Aster grabbed Light and ran wildly. William, carrying the Duke on his back, followed closely behind. The master and servant were full of confidence. It's okay. We will definitely win. The era of the old men is over. However, the next second, the Duke actually pulled out a pistol, unlike you. Times have changed. With a clang, a chocolate bullet hit Aster's shoulder. The two were scared to death. How could you tease people like this? You're actually scaring people by snatching a child's toy. After reacting, the Duke had already taken the letter from the royal envoy. Then he turned around and mocked the two. Did you think I would fall for you to unfilial? Daughters again. The two were extremely annoyed. Damn it. What exactly is written in the invitation? Then secretly glanced at Light. Let's leave this matter for you to decide. I will fully support you. Light took the invitation with a confused look. Is this really happening? It turned out that the queen heard that Light had been keen on tormenting her son recently. So she also planned to torment him and personally drew up a list of husbands for him to marry. Among them was her son's name. If you want to choose him, it's not impossible. Light didn't expect that damned crown prince would retaliate against him in this way. He had lived here for 65 years. As for love or marriage, he didn't have any hope. His future partner would probably just be for show. Since he had to get married, then he might as well find someone capable, obedient, and interesting. Just then, the two noticed a familiar face in the distance. It turned out to be Glenn, sitting on a bench reading a book. Glenn also noticed the arrival of the two. He got up and bowed to Light, thanking him for his care these days. Light, this clever person, carefully thought about it and felt that he was quite perceptive. And he was also a descendant of a noble who once had a territory. His appearance was also not bad, and he was only 20 years old. Then he called him to the study to test his ability to handle official duties. Glenn smiled with anticipation. Then he used a move of thousand-hand Guanyin, and even made a yay sign in his spare time. He quickly sorted out all the documents. Light looked at the detailed reports in his hand, as well as various statistical charts and texts, and shockingly exclaimed that he was a walking scanner. Then Glenn was actually lifted up by the maids and dragged into the side room. Light looked determined. I will never let this man go. Then he ordered the maids to measure his size properly. The size of his fingers must also be measured. Soon, Light couldn't wait to push open the door. Young master, do you like diamonds? Glenn trembled all over. I should like them, right? At this moment, he was extremely terrified. Before, he had been ignored and tormented in various ways. What was he trying to do now? A week later, Light took Glenn to see his father, the Duke. Glenn looked at the exquisite clothes he was wearing. Could it be that he was useless, and they were planning to sell him to a brothel? Unexpectedly, Light praised him. Young master, you are so beautiful. Glenn was even more depressed. Light took the documents that Glenn had sorted out and gave them to the Duke to read. The Duke finished reading the piles of reports with a numb scalp, then looked at Light excitedly. Light nodded understandingly. The Duke also nodded with relief. Light suddenly knelt on one knee in front of Glenn, then took out a diamond ring. Please marry me. The others applauded and congratulated without emotion. And Glenn, who was completely dumbfounded, Am I dreaming? After reacting, he threw his cane far away. The cane instantly broke into two halves. Light, this niece, has a head full of terrible thoughts. She didn't prepare a gift for him. Then she apologized to Glenn. But Glenn said it didn't matter. Even if I'm insignificant, you should still ask for my opinion. Light didn't understand, asking if the result wouldn't be the same whether she asked or not. Glenn got angry, saying he was a person with flesh and blood. Who knows shame? Then he turned and left, saying sorry. I refuse your proposal. Watching Glenn's stubborn back as he limped away, everyone was dumbfounded. The Duke ordered Lit to chase after him quickly. The Roxburgh family never lets go of anyone capable. As long as you sincerely beg, you can get their forgiveness. After all, that's how I got you back from your grandmother's house. At this time, William also ran out to stop Lit. No matter how wronged you are, you must unconditionally admit your mistake. The straight-minded Lit was full of admiration. Indeed, Old Ginger is more spicy. I will definitely live up to my mission. Glenn, on the other hand, because of his leg, knelt on the ground panting after not walking for long. Lit arrived in time and gently helped him up. After sincerely apologizing to him, she planned to take him back to his room. Glenn asked with a puzzled face, Miss, do you know where my room is? The next second, Lit accurately said Glenn's room location. Glenn turned his head away shyly. Was she also concerned about me before? From then on, his tragic life of self-persuasion began. When they got to the room, Lit told him about being forced to marry by the princess. Being with Glenn was just acting. She only needed him to act with her until he was 20. Then she would help him restore his title and serve as an aide to the Duke's family. Glenn thought carefully, and this proposal was indeed good. Lit was frantic inside, but on the surface, she had to pretend to be weak, of course. Otherwise, why would I go to so much trouble? Glenn still had a doubt about this matter. He asked if it would affect his mother and younger brother. Lit answered with a firm face. Of course, there's no problem. I will protect them. Glenn was stunned for a few seconds, then shyly covered his face. So he misunderstood her. I accept your proposal. Then Lit put the wedding ring on him. Although we are just in a contractual relationship, I will cherish and love you. Glenn looked at the wedding ring on his hand, somewhat unbelievably. Then I have something I want to ask of you. The title young master is too awkward. Please don't call me that. Lit agreed readily, then put on the ring herself. Glenn corrected her. I should be the one to put the ring on you, miss. But Lit happily said it didn't matter. As long as today is the first day we're together. As a memento, let's go to work. Glenn immediately felt like he was being tricked. Soon, Glenn completed all the work. Lit looked at the documents in her hand with joy. I'm so happy. Let's go on a date tomorrow and buy you a planner. Glenn agreed shyly. Then I will finish my work as soon as possible tomorrow. Lit was shocked after hearing this. What? Even faster. Then I have to practice more. Then she ordered Aster to take young master to dinner together. Glenn looked at Aster approaching with increasing fear. What are you going to do? The girl transmigrated into a pure love novel where her younger brother is the male lead. But what he didn't know was that the originally thin younger brother was actually twisted into a brother complex by her. At this time, the younger brother was enjoying dinner. He was very happy to see his older sister coming over, but he was shocked by the person in Aster's arms. After learning that this person was his future brother-in-law, Lee Yoon forced a smile and stood up, saying sorry. I don't have much appetite today. Then he covered his face and ran away in tears. Lit instantly understood. It seems that Lee Yoon, this brother complex, was stimulated after seeing my fiancé. He was stimulated. But why does Lee Yoon like me so much? Lit came to Lee Yoon's room. She saw Lee Yoon hiding in the quilt, quietly shrinking himself into a ball. Lit patiently explained to him. You seem to have some misunderstanding. I'm only marrying Glenn under contract because of the royal family's threat. After the agreement ends, you will still be the one to assist me. Lee Yoon, this clever little guy, immediately concluded that. So my sister and brother-in-law are fake, but I'm the real one. Then he immediately jumped out of the quilt. Sister, I'm not throwing a tantrum. Lit gently touched Lee Yoon's little head. Okay. I brought you some food. Eat it quickly. Lee Yoon obediently said okay. The next second, he started gobbling it up. The next morning, the family of four went out together to buy Glenn a new cane. Soon, they chose a store. But the snobbish clerk reminded them, the items here are very valuable. Don't touch them. You can't wear them. From here to there, I want them all. Glenn thoughtfully reminded Miss, you're spending too much. I can just pick one. Lit immediately looked sad and faded. I'm so busy every day that I don't have time to spend money. I don't even have a chance to show off my wealth. I'm nothing but rich and beautiful. Glenn panicked instantly. Miss, please buy me more clothes. So he and Lee Yoon hurriedly picked some ugly and expensive things in the store. Then everyone came to the foot massage shop. Aster happily ate the cake. Miss, why don't we buy the cake shop master back too? Haha, then that would be showing off our wealth. Lit felt like she hadn't been this happy in a long time. But the next second, she saw a familiar, red-haired man walking towards the side outside the window. It reminded him of a bad marriage. 0.01 seconds later, Lee Tae used the move ROC spreading its wings. She kicked the men in the room into the closet. A dangerous person has appeared. It's better to be obedient. Did you hear that? Then she tied the closet tightly with cloth strips. That person is Luke. He's the head of the Shao group. But none of that matters. What matters is that he's a true homosexual. He'd do anything for love. What if he takes a fancy to Lee-in or Glenn? He'd definitely steal them by any means necessary. Without Glenn, how would he and his father live? A trial assistant walked in. Miss Lee Tae ... Sorry to interrupt. Before he could finish, Lee Tae interrupted him. If you know you're interrupting, then get out. We're enjoying our leisure time. How can that be? Unexpectedly, the person in front of them took off their hood, revealing his true face. Aster was dumbfounded. Li Tae remained calm. You have so many tricks. Did you learn them while being a slave? Faced with Li Tae's provocation, Luke just smiled it off. It turns out Luke's mother was a slave, and his father was the head of the Shout family. That person did it for fun, and violated Luke's mother. However, Luke's talents gradually emerged as he grew up. His livestock came to his door, giving the woman two choices, and her own life. And let Luke become a foundation for the family, or kill Luke, and become a concubine of the Shout family. Then his mother gently cupped his face, and taught him a principle of life. In order to survive, you must use any means necessary. After saying that, she was about to strangle her own son. That person laughed and picked up a knife. Ha ha ha. How could I kill my own? ... Child single quotes as mother to be my concubine. After entering the family, Luke was even more discriminated against. He paid countless blood and tears to climb to where he is today. Li Tae lightly touched Luke's scar. It must be the shadow left when you parted with your mother. But Luke still smiled. That's right. She's a very interesting person. I should thank my mother. Thanks to her, miss, you're so interested in me. Li Tae felt pity for his sickly appearance, so she decided to torment him properly. I see you're here to talk business with me. How could I come empty-handed? Luke immediately ordered someone to pour out a bucket. Miss, do you really think I came empty-handed? Unexpectedly, Li Tae did a light-speed spinning kick, shattering the wooden bucket. My light-speed spinning kick can see through lies, clear obstacles, and see the truth. These things ... He just saw them in a nearby store. Are you treating me like an idiot? I know everything about you. Let's not beat around the bush between colleagues. Unexpectedly, the next second, Luke put away his smile. Warning, I advise you to accept this gift. The two people hiding in the closet heard this and thought Li Tae was in danger. They actually burst out with infinite potential. They broke free from the restraints on the closet and wanted to protect her. On single quotes, Luke continued with the following words. The minerals on this bracelet are good for the body. Looking at the two people who suddenly appeared, both sides were stunned. Li Tae grabbed Glenn's collar and was about to hit him. Luke, not knowing the situation, was still trying to persuade her to calm down. Li Tae, with a murderous look, called Aster over. I'm counting on you. Then there was a series of pop-pop sounds of flicking foreheads. Li Tae wanted to act cute and fool me, afraid you'd fall in love with them at first sight. So she hid them. Haha, aren't I very wise? Miss Li Tae, please calm down. I'm a person with principles at least. I don't like those immature little kids. And I especially don't like those who ... Double quotes ... can't exert any strength at night. Li Tae felt something was strange after hearing this. That immature ... little kid is my brother. The weakling who can't exert any strength at night is my man. Luke's expression became strange. These are the prejudices I had against others when I was young. But in fact, your brother has a promising future. Your fiancé can't exert any strength. I can exert the strength for him. Left hand holding a handsome young man. Right hand holding a cutie. Wouldn't that be the pinnacle of life? Li Tae was impressed by his perversion. No way. Even if you're joking, you're not allowed to insult my people. All right. I'm authorizing your group to open a branch in the duchy. When a crazy woman meets a crazy man, only the crazier one can win. But Luke's level of perversion even made the silly Li Tae beg for mercy with both hands. Luke was very curious. Why are you so good at doing business at only 16 years old? Li Tae had to tell him about the Roxburgh families. Terrible and dark history. It turns out that as soon as the Duke's heir turns 10 years old, they have to start a period of 5 years of devilish training courses. The narrator knows you don't want to listen. 10,000 words omitted here. Luke expressed great understanding of Li Tae's experience. The two quickly finished discussing the cooperation. Just as Luke got up to say goodbye, Glenn suddenly appeared and stopped him. Miss Li Tae, you can't let him go. Don't you think there's something wrong with what he said? Everyone was misled by him. Actually, I'm not that weak at night. After hearing this, Luke turned to look at Li Tae. What this young master means is, does he have experience in that area? Glenn blushed and explained, No, it's not like that. Luke, you big brain. Activate your brainwaves and think carefully. Wait. I know. That is to say, there's a part of his body that's particularly amazing. Li Tae's mind went blank. What? Where is it? Why aren't you talking? Hurry up and say it. I'm very anxious. Luke also added fuel to the fire. Is this a secret that can't be made public? Glenn stammered. I couldn't say a word. He finally broke down. How could I, in front of my fiancé, admit that I'm not good enough? Just like that, Glenn spent a whole day, not even daring to talk to Lit. Not long after, the Duke's mansion held a grand night. appointed ceremony for Aster. Lit was so excited she couldn't believe it, showing off to everyone that he was my guard knight. My beast, Aster's third and fourth. Old 5 and Old 6 came to celebrate, but the touching sibling scene didn't even last 2 seconds. The third brother took out weapons with his younger brothers. My knife is coated with deadly poison, you know? Did you enjoy the celebration? After saying that, they stabbed Aster together. Die, you extremely annoying pighead. Aster provoked with a laugh. Come on, you bunch of losers. While Lit calmly enjoyed. Afternoon tea. Ba la la, what a peaceful day. The next morning, Aster was happily enjoying bread. At this time, Lit handed him a new schedule, asking him to train with Li Yun every day. Aster's heart broke on the spot, and then he choked up. Is it because I eat too much? So you don't want me anymore? Miss, you can't do this. You know my strength. Lit quickly explained, of course not. I just think you have a lot of talent and want to polish you more. Aster was still a little worried. Is it really not because I eat too much that you want to sell me by the pound? Speechless, Lit was speechless. Do you think the Duke's family doesn't even have this much money? I just want you to improve your abilities. I understand. I will train hard and return to your side as soon as possible. But who will protect you when I'm not around? Lit helped him up. I do have a good candidate, Aster added. As long as it's not Jacob Brown, even if it's Glenn, I'll accept it. However, at the same time, Lit happened to say Jacob Brown's name. Aster licked his hand, okay? I take back what I just said. Lord Glenn is a burden. He can't handle it. At this time, Glenn, who was eavesdropping, was very dissatisfied and hammered the wall twice to protest. Miss, your neighbor has no manners. Finally, Lit still chose the crouching dragon and phoenix chick. In Aster's house, Jacob Brown as the guard knight. Aster had to compromise. Okay, there's really not a single dedicated one at home. However, on Jacob's first day, he cooperated with Aster to take down our dear Duke. The dignified Duke and Miss actually generated electricity again. On the matter of teasing the Crown Prince, the two hit it off and even had a dance-off in the basement of the Roxburgh Duke's mansion. There is also a secret that is not known. In this place, the Duke's family will secretly deal with some people who shouldn't exist, and Jacob Brown is the executioner here. As soon as Lit and Aster entered here, they pinched their noses with 2 fingers. Oh my god, this smell is really pungent. So this place is very suitable for scum to live in. Jacob was very surprised to see Lit. Are you finally planning to kill Aster? Lit replied no. Then he put Jacob's gas mask on his own head. Jacob's eyes were immediately filled with disappointment. Then what are you doing here? Aster has other things to do for a short time. So I need a temporary guard. For the time being, you will be responsible for my guard work. Jacob turned his head and hummed a little tune. I don't want to. If you don't want to be fired, listen to me finish. Jacob immediately chickened out and knelt down. Only the Duke can decide my future. Do you want to be fired like this? Or do you want to be my temporary guard? Then what do you want me to do until? When? Until Aster can use swordsmanship. Jacob felt hopeless in life. Wouldn't that be a lifetime of no waking up? The next second, Lit launched a protective counterattack. You brat, how do you know Jacob is wronged? Think about it, our whole family are crouching dragons and phoenixes, and everyone can't learn it. Why can he do it? Lit ignited his fighting spirit. Aster, I'll find you another teacher to train. You don't have to guard me during this time. Then he clenched his little fists and punched Jacob's face twice. I am the heir to the Duke's family. You won't have a good time if you anger me. So, let's solve the problem of the temporary guard like this. On the way back, Aster and Jacob were still passionately fighting each other. Lit couldn't help but sigh. What a peaceful atmosphere. Just as he looked up, he was suddenly stunned. The Duke was standing in front of the window with his hands behind his back. I saw him with a handsome smile on the corner of his mouth. What a peaceful scene. My lovely daughter. Others were shocked. The cunning Duke. Why would he show such a sunny smile? Just the next second, the Duke was taken down by Jacob and Aster. The Duke shouted, "Heroes, spare me." Aster and Jacob were also very surprised. Oh my god, this is actually a subconscious reaction of the body. Lit was speechless. Why are you doing such a strange thing? I thought you were disguised as a spy of the Duke. The old father opened his mouth seriously and earnestly. Could it be that a father expressing love for his daughter is a strange thing? The next second, Aster and Jacob's weapons were subconsciously placed on the Duke's neck again. The Duke immediately compromised. Okay, I admit I'm a little weird. I know what you're planning, but your acting is too bad. I'm at least 65 minus 40, which equals 16 years old. I know you're about to attend the palace's regular banquet, but absolutely not. The focus of this banquet has to be Duke Glenn. I'm going to introduce him to everyone. Otherwise, the princess consort will assign me a marriage. Don't you know that? An angry Duke can only be angry for a moment. You must have thought I would say that, right? I was just kidding. The Duke turned around and flipped his dark silver hair. How could I let go of the great opportunity to tease the crown prince? If we go together. Lit is shocked. What about work? The Duke snorted. Don't worry. I'll teach you, Uncle Louis. Will Uncle Louis agree? If he doesn't agree, it's 5 lives. You can refer to Dylan's fate before. The two women looked at each other, understanding each other. Immediately, the captain jumped up and danced. Duke is so cool, thanks to you always being on the list. I never feel bored. Ha ha ha, you flatter me. You truly deserve to be the leader of the Duke family. The title of Big Smarty belongs to you. Jack looked at the spinning, jumping, crazy duo. Are they always this crazy? Aster is already used to it. Yes, you'll get used to it when we get to the banquet. Lit and the crown prince staged a chase. A playful, famous scene. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and the Duke's daughter go crazy in public, staging a hilarious scene of you chasing me. My Yanzi, how can I live without you? Yanzi? Just a few days ago, Lit had Will Brown thoroughly investigate the cursed doll incident in the palace last time. As expected, the one who placed the cursed doll in the Crown Prince's residence was someone under the first princess, according to the reply in the intelligence letter. It was confirmed to be someone wearing a large sun hat, dressed plainly but moving quickly, a magician. Lit looked at Aster and Jack, who were still pinching each other. Everyone, now you have the key. Jack, you go and kill this person, and then disguise it as an accidental death. Aster, you go and tell Duke to insert our people to replace this position. A few days later, people found the palace. Magician's body under the bridge. The final judgment was that he accidentally fell to his death after being drunk. The cursed doll incident came to an end. Lit came to the room to check how Leanne was practicing. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Leanne singing, dancing, and rapping. He could practice to this extent in just 2.5 days. Lit was very pleased. Then he pulled up Leanne to test how his 5G was. A song of 5 arms. Lit was very satisfied with Leanne's learning results. Then he invited him to play another game, but from Leanne's perspective. Lit was spinning and jumping, looking at Leanne with his eyes closed, feeling dizzy. He fell to the ground. It turned out that Lit thought he was too cute and couldn't help but tease him again. Then he pulled up Leanne. If I accompany you to practice, you should be able to learn faster. From now on, after I finish work every day, I'll come and practice dancing with you. But Jack behind him saw through Leanne's green tea behavior at a glance. He was clearly pretending to fall just now. Is he blind? Can't he see that the kid is very scheming? On the day of the banquet, the listless trio instantly got energized. Perfect transformation. The two people bound by the agreement successfully transformed into a sweet couple. The Duke also changed from an old man with a story into a middle-aged handsome man who is both rich and charming. As for Aster and Jack, they are as close as siblings as always. Lit waved his hand to stop them. Give me a break on such an important day. Aster questioned, you said you didn't want to go. Why are you following us now? Jack was stunned. Hey, he couldn't say that it was because he was worried about Miss. Seeing that Miss was almost tricked by Leanne these days, he looked worried. He couldn't just watch her fall into the tiger's den. Jack crossed his arms, looking shy. That's because Jack's heart is as wavering as a reed. Aster was disgusted and drew his sword to chop him. Lit immediately ordered him to put it away. At this time, Leanne was happily running towards Lit, about to sit in the same carriage with him. But Jack grabbed him under the arm and lifted him up. Young master, your seat is here. Then he was placed between Aster and Jack. The two women sat in the carriage and smiled strangely. Lit looked at Glenn's shy and delicate appearance and was very satisfied. Young master, you are so beautiful that you are shining. Miss, can you please stop saying such things? That's right, don't say it again. You should say he is pure and talented. As the sound of horses' hoofs came, the Duke suddenly looked at Lit. Lit, do you hear the sound of horses' hooves? It's so festive today. Even the horses are dancing happily. Heard the horse dancing. That's the horse dance. The two crazy people immediately danced in the carriage. Glenn was speechless at these two crazy women. Arriving at the palace, the Duke's family can enter directly without queuing. But Aster and Jack were stopped. Weapons are not allowed in the palace. Aster pierced the ribs with an arrow on the spot. This is not a weapon. This is a kebab. Jack said, this is not a weapon. But my life partner, Alice. If you don't hand in your weapons, you can't enter. And you can't taste delicious food at the banquet. Aster immediately compromised and put down his weapon. Jack scolded, you pig. Then the two started fighting again. This banquet is the princess consort's birthday banquet. Important people participating in the banquet include Anton, the heir of the Eastern family, Dorothy, the heir of the Southern family, and Roselight, the heir of the Western family. Looks like the Northern family is too busy to attend the banquet again. But that doesn't affect what I'm going to announce next. I saw him put his arm around Lee and proudly introduced himself to everyone. My lovely brother. Then he looked around warily. Let me see which bastard dares to covet my brother. Next, I'll introduce my beautiful and charming fiancé. Glenn is hateful. The crown prince is not here. I still want to show off in front of him. At this time, the crown prince is admiring flowers in the courtyard. I saw him pick up a delicate daisy, put it to his nose and savor it. Found you, my love. But the next second, he immediately threw away the flower and ran away. It turned out to be His Highness who appeared behind him immediately. I'm engaged. Why didn't you come? To see my lovely fiancé. Your Highness is 8 years older than me and not married yet. How can this be? Unexpectedly, the crown prince used a secret skill, full of horizontal jumps. Lit was dizzy from his interference. The crown prince succeeded in this way, got rid of Lit's pursuit. Unexpectedly, Lit caught up with him in the end. The two staged another scene, a famous scene of double madness. There is only one effective way to deal with an old madman. That is to be crazier than him. After a hearty life and death contest, the crown prince successfully got rid of Lit's pursuit, just as Lit was annoyed. His dark hair was grabbed. Lit turned his head angrily. Which little cutie is it? I saw that person pointing at Lit condescendingly. How dare you ignore me? It's so unreasonable. The person who came was the eldest princess, Grace Elaine. Greetings, Your Highness. I wish you happiness as immense as the Eastern Sea, and longevity as great as the Southern Mountain. I'll take my leave first. Unexpectedly, the princess grabbed the scene again. Aster and Jack immediately stood in front of Lit. Miss, are you okay? If nothing else happens, I should be in trouble. A strange man also immediately stood in front of the princess boldly. How dare you be disrespectful to this princess? I think you want to rebel. The three guards immediately confronted each other with their eyes. It turned out, this person is John Brown, the eldest of the Brown family, because he fell in love with the princess at first sight, left the family to work for the royal family. Lit touched his clever little head, scraping a headache. The situation is not good. John is a royal guard, so he can drive, but our family can't. Wait until the next second. Aster popped out to hemp ropes from his sleeve. Jack drew out his belt from his waist. You've been away from home for too long. Maybe you've forgotten. Our family's dogs all bite. By the way, this is not a weapon. This is my life partner. Name dialogue. The three started fighting. Seeing the battle getting fiercer, Lit suddenly shouted, the crown prince is here. The three siblings stopped immediately. The longsword returns to its sheath. The dagger returns to the sleeve. The belt returns to the pants. The eldest brother puts on his glasses. Loving guidance. Can't you solve problems with dialogue? The younger siblings also sensibly admitted their mistakes. We have fully reflected on it. Lit said he was lying. He doesn't want to make things worse. It turns out that the reason why Grace always troubles him is that the Duke's family has a grudge against him. Grace was once almost the heir to the throne. Whether it's his adaptability or his insight is very strong, and she is still a princess, it is reasonable to be recognized as the heir. But this matter was opposed by Locke. Duke Spurg strongly opposed it, even at the expense of rolling around in public. With peerless protest, he also got the support of Little Lit. It turns out that the princess is a deep alcohol addict because she has suffered from severe eyes since childhood. He'd be for going to bed every night, have to rely on alcohol to drive away the fear of citizens. The Duke doesn't want such an unhealthy personality. People who sit on the throne leave hidden dangers for the country. But as the princess's long-term punching bag, Lit knows best how to anger him. Princess, why does your lens seem to be getting thicker again? Has your eyesight deteriorated again? It seems that your acting skills are really serious. But you can see me from afar. I'm so touched. I saw the next second. The princess couldn't bear it and slapped Lit hard. Slapped him, even though Lit was scratched on the cheek. Still turned his head and looked at the princess provocatively. Instead, Aster and Jack jumped out and stood in front of Lit, protecting him with a nervous look. The princess gritted her teeth and endured it again and again, then called John to leave. John looked at Lit helplessly. Do you have to stimulate him like this? Lit tilted his head indifferently. Is he pitying the princess? Then gave him a suggestion. I found his toy in the crown prince's bedroom. Stop complaining. Still look after the princess. Don't let him do anything out of line. Then, Lit and the others happily continued searching. Get up, crown prince. At this time, the crown prince is lying in the flowers. I am in the flowers. I must be a beautiful flower too. Looking for a flower handsome man in the flowers. It must be harder than finding a grain of rice in the desert. Unexpectedly, Lit was standing by the flower bed. Oh, your highness, where are you? Why can't I find you? The prince was very proud that he couldn't find me. I'll tell you a secret. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince has a bad temper. Just provoke him a little, and he'll jump out immediately. The Crown Prince is confident. For the past 24 years, I've been painstakingly studying how to anger someone to death without paying the price. Do you think I'd fall for your trick so easily? But then, Lit casually said, this flower is so beautiful. Take it for me. And the Crown Prince immediately got up, instantly chickening out and begging for mercy. The Crown Prince is being held by Aster and Jack. In the middle. Why do you always hold on to me? Since you sincerely asked, then I shall mercifully tell you. See this delicate daisy in my hand? Let me introduce you. This is my capable and kind, clean, handsome, and shy, who didn't need to be so perfect, yet is flawlessly perfect, fiancé, young Master Glenn. The Crown Prince is puzzled. Isn't that a flower? Lit exclaims, oh dear, it's all because my beautiful fiancé is as sweet and lovely as a flower, that I mistook him. Actually, this is my real fiancé, young Master Glenn. The Crown Prince realizes he's being subtly mocked. Are you kidding me? Yes, I am kidding. But my feelings for young Master Glenn are genuine. At the tender age of 16, I experienced the sweetness of love for the first time. But the Crown Prince probably knows nothing about that, right? Oh my god, I had a partner at 16. There can't be anyone over 20 who's still single, right? I can already hear Wong Fei's heartbreaking. At this moment, Aster is holding a washboard that he somehow got from somewhere, making cracking sounds to simulate a heartbreaking. Bitch, this time, Lit rightfully shows off his middle finger. Look, this is my engagement ring. You don't have one, do you? If you lived a little kinder, maybe you could find one. Before he could finish speaking, the Crown Prince's hand gently caresses Lit's cheek. Miss Roxburgh, you cherish your lover so much. Why don't you cherish yourself at all? You're already unpopular, and now you have a scar on your face. You're even less presentable. Who would buy a flawed product? After saying that, he snatched the washboard and started scraping it. I can already hear your fiance's heartbreaking. The next two reversed actions made Glenn completely lose it. Lit, who anged countless people, was finally splashed with a big room. The Crown Prince is seen holding the snatched washboard, scraping it, simulating the sound of a heartbreaking. Haha, I can already hear your fiance's heartbreaking. Is that so? Then please remember to trim the nails of the cats in the palace, Your Highness. If anyone asks about the injury on my face, I will tell them exactly that I was scratched by some blind cat in the palace. The next second, the Crown Prince was rarely shocked. Then go get it treated quickly. Then he bowed and saluted, asking the imperial physician arranged at the banquet. Looking at the Crown Prince's sudden sincerity, Lit only felt it was boring. It seems he's really good to his sister. Never mind, I can just let my hair down to cover it. Soon, everyone returned to the banquet hall together. The Crown Prince immediately spotted Glenn in the distance. Oh, so you're the one Miss Roxburgh praised so highly. The kind and clean, handsome and shy, who didn't need to be so perfect, yet is flawlessly perfect, fiancé, young Master Glenn. After saying that, he caused everyone to burst into laughter. After his brain crashed for 999 seconds, the clueless Glenn was sweating profusely. What is he talking about? How should I respond? Fortunately, Lit came to the rescue in time. He took Glenn's arm and introduced, thank you for taking care of young Master Glenn, who is visiting the palace for the first time, and spoke to him. But as you can see, my fiancé is very shy. Your close conversation with him has made him so nervous that he's at a loss. Then he secretly regretted in his heart, I was careless. This guy took advantage of my inattention. Crown Prince Glenn grinned. Are you showing off? Not at all. I'm just stating the facts. Since you're so considerate of him, why did you bring him here? Since young Master Glenn is so unwell, it would be better for him to rest at home. If I could, I would love to tie him up at home, just for my own enjoyment, but today is the Queen's birthday after all. How could I not introduce my most cherished person to her? The air was suddenly filled with the smell of gunpowder between the two. Glenn was sweating profusely. Don't drag me into this. Fortunately, the Queen came to smooth things over in time. Oh my, you two are so loving. Lit raised a finger. No, no, no. That's not all. My fiancé is particularly amazing in some aspects. Glenn frantically punched Lit with his small fists. What are you talking about? William continued to fuel the fire. Young Master Glenn can calculate 6-digit multiplication. His singing and memory are also outstanding. Lit shouted directly. His 280 IQ brain is omnipotent. His gentle voice is comparable to a superstar. The embarrassed Glenn screamed to the sky, please, stop talking, although it's the Middle Ages. Lit still skillfully pulled out a microphone. His existence is simply a miracle. Today, we will specially interview the perfect Mr. Glenn. Glenn, who was too embarrassed to show his face, manually censored himself, but inadvertently. The Crown Prince quietly walked towards Lean. Damn it, that bastard is changing targets again. Lean bowed to the Crown Prince. His dazzling and charming appearance made Lit terrified. The atmosphere gradually became tense. You and Miss Roxburgh look very similar. It's obvious you have ulterior motives. Wright immediately ran to protect Leon in her arms. Are you harassing my brother? Please consider the royal family's reputation. Don't even think about hitting on my brother. Look at how old you are. You should just obediently go on blind dates. After saying that, she led Leon to dance. The Crown Prince stamped his feet in place. What nonsense are you spouting, you crazy woman? Wright and Leon danced in the center of the dance floor. Leon quietly asked in her ear, are you feeling better now? The atmosphere just now didn't seem very good. Wright didn't care at all. It's not like His Highness has only been crazy for a day or two. You don't need to worry. But Leon and the Crown Prince have already met. If I'm not careful, it will trigger the love foreshadowing in the novel, causing their hearts to beat and their love to burn like a fire. That's absolutely not allowed. He can't fall into reincarnation again. Otherwise, at this time, Leon tightened his hand on Wright's waist. His expression became serious. Sister, don't you like dancing with me? No, I'm very happy. Wright was shocked. He's actually acting pitiful while saying this to me. No wonder the men in the novel are all so infatuated with him. One song ends, and it's Wright's favorite swing dance segment. He's scattering flowers, happily going to find his old Duke father to dance. Unexpectedly, the Duke is dancing with another woman. The two of them are swinging to their heart's content on the dance floor. Wright is very angry. This is a swing dance. He should be dancing with me. The Duke turns his head with a sly smile. How hateful. He's deliberately betraying me. Abandoned, Wright discovers that his companions are also gone. Where did everyone go? I don't even have a dance partner yet. My swing dance song is almost over. Is there no one who can dance with me? Just when he was about to despair, a pair of familiar long legs appeared in front of him. Luke was looking at Wright with a smile. Hello, miss. Wright immediately burst into tears of joy. I'm so happy. Then he pulled up Luke and started dancing against the Duke. After being dumped by the crazy Crown Prince, Wright was betrayed by his silly father again. Not only did it prevent him from finding a dance partner, but he also provoked him with an evil face, looking at the Duke dragging his dance partner. A gorgeous trap. Wright was not willing to be outdone, and directly spun Luke into a top. Then a knee attack, making him kneel on the ground, sitting on his knee, pretending to be noble. Title, Who Made Me a Princess? How could the Duke be willing to show weakness? He directly threw his dance partner into the air, almost overturning the stage. Wright jumped onto Luke's shoulders, spreading his free arms. Title, What's on the Other Side of the Sea? Luke, who was about to collapse, shouted tremblingly, You two crazy people, stop it. Wright laughed wildly, ha ha ha. I don't want to. And the Duke also roared, No one can stop me. Unsurprisingly, he was stopped the next second. The husband of the Duke's dance partner appeared in time. How can you treat my wife like this? The Duke, knowing he was in the wrong, apologized with black lines on his head. Then he threw himself into William's arms with a grieved face and cried. Wright imitated him gloatingly. Haha, how ridiculous. Who told him to try to outshine his own daughter? Then he wanted to find Luke for another dance. Unexpectedly, Luke, who had only exercised for a short while, was now so weak that he was about to disappear with the wind. Isn't this like your exercise in front of the screen? Wright had to let him go, turning around to look for a new hunting target. At this time, Glenn was bored, killing time. Wright appeared in front of Glenn, pulling him to go dancing. The light shone on Wright, making him look so dazzling at this moment. It's okay. This song has a very slow rhythm. You can dance too. Glenn looked at the hand tightly held in his, completely lost in thought, but he, with his inconvenient legs, was still a bit resistant. Wright told him not to worry. Just follow me. Then he gently guided Glenn to dance. The two people on the dance floor instantly became the focus of the audience. Miss, I'm sorry. It's all my fault that you can't dance properly. Oh, didn't I tell you not to worry? Can't you feel it? Although they didn't say anything, they are obviously jealous that I have you. Such a capable and handsome fiancé. You have to be confident in yourself. Then, step by step, he led Glenn to dance slowly. Unexpectedly, Glenn accidentally stepped on Wright's foot. I'm sorry, it's okay. If you feel bad, I'll step on you too. However, Wright just put his foot on Glenn's shoe and tapped it lightly. The warm gesture made Glenn very moved. Miss, meeting you is the honor of my life. Wright laughed cheerfully. Ha ha, of course. Look who I am. After the banquet, the Roxburgh Duke family returned to its usual busyness. Just then, the maid came to inform him that the paper and bribes he sent to the magic tower were all returned. Wright had sent 11 papers to the magic tower. This was the first time it had been returned. His intuition told him that something had happened to his teacher. After seeing the contents of the letter, Wright was shocked. It turned out that the teacher had been missing for a long time, and what he didn't know was that the teacher had fainted in the wild several days ago and woke up. The teacher clutched his head and muttered painfully, "Who am I? Where am I?" Looking at his reflection in the lake, he soon understood everything. So that's how it is. I am a sexy and handsome man. At this moment, a cry of alarm came from the side. Two big men were chasing a little girl. Only to see the next second, the sky rained down a heaven collapsing, earth-shattering violet core lightning. It directly roasted the two into charcoal-grilled pork chops. The girl was very grateful and thanked him for saving her. How should I repay you? Kenzie was still immersed in how cool he was just now. Incomparably dazzling lightning magic. However, he reaffirmed one fact. I am a sexy, story-filled, and powerful great magician. As the protagonist of this story, I am destined to open the prelude to an epic hero's journey. When Zir followed the little girl back to her house, the girl's mother not only wanted to give him the house, but also wanted to take off her clothes and sell them for money for him. Zir saw through their trick at a glance. What are you plotting? Confess the truth. The girl's mother had no choice but to confess. It turned out that the Lord's tyranny had become more and more serious recently. He actually forcibly collected high taxes. Everyone wanted to protest, but they were afraid of angering him. He would send mercenaries to slaughter the villagers, just like chasing the little girl just now. But if you are in our village, the Lord would not dare to invade at will. So even if we give you the house, we will not hesitate. These words instantly ignited Zir's sense of justice. Then he single-handedly destroyed the local, despicable nobles. Who has the next dream? Just like that, the revolution of the hero Zir Oswald began. After rescuing the teacher, Lit regretted it. Damn it. Should I just kill this crazy old man? A black shadow accompanied by lightning suddenly appeared outside the window. Scared, Guapi Lit screamed. As a result, the person climbing in from the window was also startled. Both sides covered their frightened little hearts and were speechless for a while. What are you yelling about? Can't you just go through the front door? It turned out that the man was Will Brown, the third son of the Brown family. After 2 years, he finally found out about Lit's teacher, Zir S. Whereabouts, Zir is now in the territory of the Luoki South Army. He is the leader of a large gang of thieves of that generation. Lit was speechless and extremely speechless. I didn't expect that my outstanding magic teacher had become a bandit leader. We'll continue to report with the information. Baron Beloki. When the small and medium-sized bandit groups in the territory were fighting fiercely, Zir Oswald suddenly appeared. After he joined forces with the Sender bandit group, with overwhelming strength, he unified the local bandit groups and successfully became the leader. Zir seems to have completely forgotten what happened before. Lit couldn't help but complain. Could it be that he has amnesia? How could it be so outrageous? This is not like listening to a manga explanation. Okay, it seems like I am listening to a manga explanation. But the focus now is that he must stop the teacher before he becomes a real criminal. He must stop him. Then he told Will, "You must bring the teacher back safely at all costs. Remember to treat him with courtesy." Will solemnly accepted the order. Then he jumped out of the window again. A few days later, Lit opened his room with a bright smile, but the next second, his pupils shook. The teacher was tied up by his feet and casually discarded on the sofa. The lightning and thunder outside the window resembled Lit's mood at the moment. He silently retreated from the room as if nothing had happened. You brat! I clearly told you to treat the teacher with courtesy. Sure enough, no one in the Brown family is normal. It's as if there are normal people in this comic. A few days later, Zir was wildly showing off 2 cups of peach iced tea. Lit, why is there no boba in you and I bobo? And there are no pearls in pearl milk tea. I said don't put it in, and you really don't put it in. Why don't you understand my heart? Lit was very speechless from the torment. So he had an idea to destroy the world. Should I just kill him? It's all because that idiot will anger the teacher back then. That's why he has to be here and humbly clean up the mess. The spicy Lit's eyes have lost their light. I'm sorry, it's my fault. But no matter what, he still has to study with the teacher. Lit brought a paper for him to read. Teacher, take a look at this. Zir's eyes revealed the clear stupidity of a college student. Oh, what is that? This is your paper. Zir looked innocent. What is a paper? Lit could only gently hand the paper to Zir. You'll know after you read it. Zir was shocked after reading it. You said such an excellent paper was actually written by me. It seems that I really am a sexy and story-filled great magician. Lit took the opportunity to ask, haha. That's right, so have you remembered anything? Zir's eyes once again revealed clear stupidity. Lit couldn't hold back. Damn it. Should I kill him? I worked so hard to bring him back, but he has no value at all. Although the teacher has lost his memory, his magic power is still very strong. Perhaps it is because the brain has been reformatted, that his upside-down nature has gradually been exposed. Zir was lying on the table, repeatedly asking Lit, say it again. Who am I? You are a genius great magician with 7 magic rings. Zir Ausward. Say it again. Am I really that powerful? In the evening, Lit, who had been mentally tortured all day, was finally able to rest. Unexpectedly, Zir poked his head out from under the bed. Lit, listen to me. Under Zir's repeated torment of doing nothing every day, Lit finally collapsed and shouted for mercy. Teacher, why don't you just go back to the magic tower? Please, that world needs you to save it. And so, Light successfully sent Zale away. When night fell, Glenn, holding a thick stack of documents, placed them on Light's desk. I finished organizing today's documents. Looking at her virtuous little darling, Light had an idea. If you don't mind, let's get married as soon as possible. Unexpectedly, before she could finish, Glenn refused flatly. Don't even think about it. I will absolutely not marry you. The usually obedient little darling refused his wife's proposal this time no matter what. Light was very puzzled. My lord, what's wrong? I'm fine. In any case, I finished all my work for today. I have to go. Light collapsed on the table, grabbing Glenn and pleading, My lord, just tell me. Why have you become so difficult to deal with lately? You're not affectionate with me anymore. Instead, you tell my father everything. Just then, Luke suddenly pushed the door open and barged in. Miss Light, I brought some super shocking news. It's really, really shocking. Light grabbed Luke by the collar. Do you not want to live? Daring to intrude into the Duke's mansion? No way. In order to tell you this news as soon as possible, I even spent 1 fund to bribe the gatekeeper. Light, obviously unfortunate. You little brat. You must be here to bargain with me again. You sly fellow. Hurry back. Otherwise, I will hold you accountable for trespassing in the Duke's mansion. Luke touched his precarious head. But the 3rd prince is coming. The 3 of them were shocked. Glenn was curious. Who is that? He's the 3rd prince of the Lagor Empire. So what does he do? He's the 3rd prince of the Lagor Empire. Glenn got anxious. I'm asking what's so great about that person. Then, Light and Luke made a heart shape with their fingers together. He has the chest and thighs of a god. And he has bronze skin. And he's very handsome. Glenn covered his face, speechless. The 2 perverts were very excited. The 2 agreed that when the 3rd prince visits, they must go and have a good look. But Light didn't receive an invitation to visit the palace. What to do? Do I have to please the queen? Or the crown prince? Luke told him not to worry. I got the opportunity to host a banquet, so I can bring people to participate. Will you be my partner? But I'm actually here to make a deal with you. Light immediately agreed without thinking. Just as the 2 reached an agreement and bumped fists, Glenn walked unhappily between the 2 of them. Light. This niece was still looking at Glenn in confusion. Glenn walked to the door of the room and stopped. After taking a deep breath, it seemed that he had made a major decision. Tears welled up in his eyes. He looked at Light aggrievedly. I will absolutely not marry you. Then he slammed the door and left. Jack looked at the two confused straight men and women. Helplessly, Miss, since you don't care about Glenn at all, then I'll go and see him. So, if that guy dares to plot against you, use this poisoned blade. And twist it 3 times in his stomach. Light looked at Luke triumphantly with the knife. Okay, let's continue talking. However, Luke brought up a sore subject. But where did Ling go? The next second, Light stood up abruptly with the knife, scaring Luke into a hasty explanation. I just wanted to say hello to him. That's all. Light smiled on the surface, but remembered that this little brat in the 4th or 5th reincarnation became furious to get lean, and even used a knife on him. Haha, I'm just kidding. Did you think I would really kill you? Luke echoed on the surface. Haha, that's true. But he also complained in his heart. Of course you would. For the sake of profit, the Locksberg family can even eliminate members of the royal family without anyone knowing. Then he immediately got up to leave. Looks like I have to go home and revise my will. Light's little heart was pounding when he thought about the upcoming banquet. Poor Glenn occupied the least space in Light's mind. A few days later, Light was already delirious because he had been staying up all night. At this time, he felt that he was about to meet God in the next second. Since hearing the news that the 3rd prince was about to visit, he sent a letter of request to the crown prince and queen. The crown prince naturally ignored his letter. Fortunately, the queen gladly agreed to his request. However, there were only 4 days left until the banquet. He had to finish all his work within 3 days. Jack was very worried looking at Light's crazy appearance. Mrs. current mental state is very similar to those lunatics who just came back from school. However, the next second, a kind god appeared. Glenn appeared in front of Light. Looking worried, drinking too much coffee is bad for your health. How much have you drunk? I don't know what to do with you. Do you like the 3rd prince that much? Is it necessary to see him? Light replied firmly, yes. Of course it's necessary. After a brief silence, Glenn considerately pulled Light up. Give me the things. Just leave the rest to me. If you keep staying up all night and then go to see the 3rd prince with a tired body, how can you leave a good impression on him? Light looked at Glenn intently. For some reason, he suddenly wanted to reach out and touch his head. But the next second, he stumbled due to overwork and fell into Glenn's arms. An ambiguous scene scared Jack, who was focused on sharpening his knife. First, he hesitated, then quickly turned away. Just like that, Lee Tae slept soundly the day before the banquet. Poor Glenn still tearfully worked for him in the studio. Lee Tae is currently using the dragons of doing 18 palms to frantically grope the 3rd prince. This man's pectoral muscles are sick. Kind-hearted Lee Tae, in order to cure him, uses a deadly move, the 1,000-hand Guanyan, at a superb speed of 800 times per second, frantically kneading the man's pectoral muscles. It turns out that just now, the 3rd prince appeared handsomely and charmingly at the banquet. Lee Tae and Luke were both shocked by his appearance. The two exclaimed in unison, now that I've seen the 3rd prince in person, I can die without regrets. However, the next second, they grinned evilly. Just kidding. How could I possibly let go of this delicious little lamb? It's rare to have such a good opportunity. Of course, good things must be shared with the audience, even if I'm weak and sickly. With my intelligence of 250, this little lamb will definitely not escape from my grasp today. Soon, the two locked onto their target in the distance. Lee Tae walked forward with a glazed look, greeting the 3rd prince in English. Hello. Hello, the banquet is very grand today. The 3rd prince immediately gave a sunny smile. Thank you for your understanding. But as a guest, you should use the language here. The dazzling light made the two unable to open their eyes. Lord Lee Tae, you can't fall for him yet. At this time, you have to greet him. Lee Tae quickly reached out to the 3rd prince. Your Highness, please shake my hand. As the 3rd prince reached out his hand, even fairer skin was revealed from his sleeve. The two who were hit right in the face screamed, oh my god, I'm going crazy. Fortunately, Luke was still calm. Lord Lee Tae, pull yourself together. You should introduce yourself now. Lee Tae immediately bowed. It's an honor to meet you. Your Highness, I will never wash my hand in this lifetime. Unexpectedly, the third prince had not only heard of Li Tae, but also praised him. Miss, you are different from the rumors, but very charming. I'm very happy to meet you. Li Tae finally couldn't resist the third prince's charm and fell to the ground with a thud. Luke took the opportunity to step forward and greet the third prince. I am Lord Li Tae's dance partner, attending this banquet together. Li Tae, who was lying on the ground, finally woke up. He could still feel the warmth of His Highness's hand and the feel of the calluses. It was simply irresistible to Li Tae. He even put it to his nose and smelled it again and again. At this time, the third prince asked in confusion, I heard that the princess will also attend. Why haven't I seen her yet? Li Tae quickly got up, disdaining the princess's absence. That drunkard must be drunk again. The crown prince stepped forward to explain the princess is unable to attend today's banquet due to illness. As the crown prince, I apologize to everyone. Li Tae suddenly became alert. Is this the rhythm of the end of the show? That won't do. It's time to use that killer move. The next second, he slammed into the crown prince, then stumbled and fell shyly into the third prince's arms. Lungia almost fell after being hit. Luke was very moved by this scene. It's a pity that Lord Li Tae's acting doesn't win a Golden Kun Award. The crown prince, on the other hand, covered his fractured shoulder and spat blood. The person who was hit wasn't my mom. Li Tae leaned drunkenly on the crown prince's rich and generous pectoral muscles. I wonder which handsome and dashingly suave hunk caught Lungia. I was born weak and sickly and have severe anemia. Please forgive Lungia's rudeness, third prince. The third prince looked at Li Tae understandingly. It's okay. You can lean on me to stand up. Li Tae smiled lewdly, since you've said so. Then I won't be polite. Then he used a move. Glen's thousand-hand Guanyin, using the strength of his shoulders and the explosiveness of his muscles to display a speed that the naked eye cannot capture. At a speed of 60 times per second, frantically groping the third prince. The speed was so fast that even the third prince didn't notice anything. After succeeding, Li Tae smiled evilly. He's, thank you. I'm much better now. Originally, the crown prince was watching the show boredly on the side. Unexpectedly, the third prince actually mistook Luke for Li Tae's second husband. He even praised the two silver and red hair. They are really a good match. Li Tae and Luke's brains crashed on the spot. The crown prince, on the other hand, was gloating and laughing madly on the side. It turns out that although the law supports polygamy and polyandry, nobles value reputation and face very much. This behavior will be regarded as the greatest shame. This banquet is nothing more than his execution ground. Luke quickly explained in a panic. In our country, noble families generally have 4 or 5 concubines, so His Highness's words were not out of malice. Then he reminded the third prince with gritted teeth. Your Highness, you misunderstood. Unless I had water in my brain, how could I possibly be with Lord Li Tae? You actually stole my line. I'll let it go since you're handsome. I won't bother with you. Li Tae looked at the third prince solemnly and seriously. Luke is traveling with me just to meet you. Besides, my fiancé is particularly energetic at night, so I don't need to find a backup. However, particularly energetic here refers to Glenn working overtime every day. The third prince looked at Luke curiously. Is he really that good? Of course, he is indeed very capable at night. The onlookers were in an uproar. It seems, that sickly fellow takes good care of his other leg. So, Glenn's image has been refreshed to another level. Suddenly, Lit starts to miss Glenn a bit. He can enjoy the banquet here, all thanks to Glenn's service. Thinking about it, he feels a bit guilty. So, as soon as the banquet ends, Lit rushes to Glenn's room without stopping. A beautiful young master lives in a remote room. And only the kind Roselight comes to see him every day. Unexpectedly, as soon as he opens the door, he sees Glenn stuffing cotton into his clothes. What's worse, Aster, who hasn't appeared for a long time, in order to grab a little screen time, specially prepared a funny joke. Miss, guess what? Are there any men in this world who, in order to look strong, secretly stuff cotton into their clothes? After saying that, he sees them stand in place, and the cotton stuffed in Glenn's chest, and the buttons that haven't been fastened yet. Aster is also stunned in place. You're really cooperating with me. Poor Glenn is leaving home tomorrow. Lit finally panics. Taking Jack, he slides and chases after him. This man actually secretly stuffs cotton into his clothes just to make himself look stronger. However, tragically, this scene is accidentally seen by the girl he likes. What's worse, Aster, who hasn't appeared for a long time, in order to grab a little screen time, specially prepared a funny joke. Miss, guess what? Are there any men in this world who, in order to look strong, secretly stuff cotton into their clothes? After saying that, he sees the two people stunned in place, and the cotton stuffed in Glenn's chest, and the buttons that haven't been fastened yet. Aster is also stunned in place. You're really cooperating with me. Poor Glenn is leaving home tomorrow. Lit, who just woke up, hasn't realized the seriousness of the situation yet. He's still sighing that looking at handsome guys really makes people refreshed. Just as he opens the window to bask in the sun, he sees Glenn dragging his suitcase downstairs, limping and walking out. Lit can't believe it. Is he leaving home? At this time, Glenn's servant hands over a letter. Lit takes it and sees that it's Glenn's resignation letter. He takes Jack, stands on the stair railing and slides down. Go chase him recklessly. Shout loudly. Lit asks Jack in confusion the reason for Glenn's sudden resignation. It turns out that Glenn stuffing cotton into his clothes yesterday has been spread throughout the Duke's mansion by Aster. Lit is speechless at Aster. I really thank your whole family. Jack says he needs to prepare something. Let's split up and chase him. Lit sits on the stair railing and slides down desperately. Is Glenn's heart made of glass? It's just that being caught patting his chest. Why be so affected? Life in this world inevitably involves experiencing several embarrassing moments. Maybe there will be even more embarrassing things next time. I must catch him back. Soon he catches up with Glenn. Lit pounces, grabbing Glenn's suitcase tightly. Don't leave me. I won't let you go. Glenn is determined. I want to resign. Please don't stop me. Let go quickly. You have to pay attention to your image. Lit roars. I can't care about that much. How can you leave me because of such a small thing? I will never let you go. I can't live without you anymore. Glenn blushes embarrassedly. That's you. But it's not a small thing for me. Unexpectedly, Lit starts to stab him in the heart. I didn't expect our Glenn to be so greatly affected. It's just that being caught patting his chest and being spread throughout the Duke's mansion. Glenn is furious. Okay, stop talking. You really want to make fun of me by using my scars. You don't even knock before entering someone else's room. There's no respect at all. Even trivial matters will be spread out. I'm just your fiancé in name only. In reality, I'm just a tool for hard labor. Lit takes the cue. The current Glenn has finally lost his mind and is starting to talk nonsense. It is estimated that his current judgment is negative 124%. So it's your turn to appear. Go, Jack. Jack instantly appears behind Glenn, covering Glenn's handsome face with a handkerchief. Then Glenn directly faints. Lit is shocked. Is this what you said you were going to prepare? Is there any harm in this sleeping drug? Jack is full of confidence. I've used it for a long time, and there haven't been any casualties yet. It's just that after being drugged with this, they will sleep for at least 2 hours. Unexpectedly, Lit asks, at most. Jack falls silent. Lit raises his small fist with a dark face. He won't be able to wake up forever, will he? If he doesn't wake up within 2 hours, I'll let you see what hell on earth is like. Jack is covered in sweat. Are you going to execute me? I will let you bathe in the bright sunshine. Accompany those innocent children to play, and thus find the innocence you lost many years ago. Accustomed to twisting in the dark, Jack, who is crawling, panics, shouting, I didn't do it on purpose. Please spare me. At this time, the Duke and William suddenly appear in front of them. What are you doing at the door? Why don't you come in and play? The Duke learns of the crisis that Glenn is about to resign. We need to come up with a solution within 2 hours to get him to withdraw his resignation letter and try to retain him as much as possible. Then should we grant him the territory of Beloki? There are rampant thieves there now. It's just right for Glenn to use some means to rectify it. Lit nods in agreement. Actually, I'm already doing the procedures, preparing to grant him the territory of Beloki. But it may take a long time. After all, he doesn't have the right to advance the process. The Duke stands up, feeling an unprecedented crisis. Glenn's departure will be very detrimental to us, right? Then let's go see Leos now. I'm counting on you for this. So Leos is the king of this country. He was also a supporter of my father, but the Duke opposed the princess's succession. After the two fell out, the Duke vowed never to see him again. Tit smiles confidently. Leave this to me. For a clever guy like me who's lived for 60 years, the crown prince is nothing. Soon, Lit arrived outside the Duke's mansion. He happily pounced on Elizabeth and my little darling. With Lit's command to sit down, Elizabeth obediently sat down. Jack was very puzzled. Is he a horse or... ... a dog? Elizabeth gently licked Lit's cheek. Jack was shocked. Could he really be a dog in a horse's skin? Lit gets on the horse with a command. They gallop towards the palace. At the same time, inside the Crown Prince's palace, the Crown Prince, just waking up, is leisurely yawning. Is it already noon? Looks like I slept well today too. So happy. Let me bask in the afternoon sun. But as soon as he opened the window, he saw Lit riding a white horse and descending from the sky. Crap, I rode too hard. The crazy woman is riding a white horse to marry me. Or is she here to take my dog life? A girl riding a white horse descends from the sky. The Crown Prince is shocked. She's playing hard. The crazy woman is riding a white horse to marry me. Looks like she's here to take my dog life. The next second, he slams the window shut, followed by a violent crash. The Crown Prince covers his ears, revealing a gloating smile. Looks like she crashed into something, just as he was about to take another nap. Uninterrupted crashing sounds came from downstairs. What the hell? What is she crashing into? Although I know she's crazy, I didn't expect her to be this crazy. The Crown Prince collapses weakly from the loud noise. Stop crashing. This is bulletproof glass. Unexpectedly, as soon as he opened the window, he saw a butt scooting performance going on downstairs. Lit, disguised in the crowd, immediately seized the opportunity. Elizabeth, now take off. Then, with Elizabeth's assistance, he suddenly flies up 100. ... and then performs a season-ending landing with a 2.5 rotation, successfully landing in the Crown Prince's room. As the Crown Prince, you're still sleeping at this hour. You're really worried about the country? The Crown Prince roars, you intruder. How can you say such a thing? Lit directly states his purpose. I want to see His Majesty the King. The Crown Prince says, you should apply to the Secretariat. They should reply to you within 3 days. Pitt says with a smile, I want to see His Majesty immediately. You can wait slowly. I'll cheer you on. After the Crown Prince finished speaking, he turned around to sleep again. Unexpectedly, Lit threatens, I have evidence. Proof that the second prince 2.5 years ago skimmed profits during my reconstruction project. The Crown Prince is immediately shocked. Wazoo, I'll arrange for you to meet His Majesty the King right away. But what evidence do you have? If it's just bribery, believe it or not, I'll pull you . I have solid evidence. It's just that I was in a hurry to leave and couldn't bring it out. The Crown Prince decisively refuses. I don't allow credit here. Lit is anxious. Then I might lose my fiancé. Haha, congratulations. After the Crown Prince finished speaking, he turned around again. Unexpectedly, Lit uses a killer move. If I lose Glenn ... I will give up all my obsessions and marry His Highness the Crown Prince. The next second, the two ride Elizabeth and rush towards the palace. The Crown Prince roars, make me run faster. Don't stop. When they arrive at the Emperor's palace, Lit subconsciously reaches out to help the Crown Prince. Don't. The Crown Prince lands perfectly with a beautiful pose. Why did you reach out to me? Don't misunderstand. Because my fiancé has deep vein thrombosis. ... I often help him, so I'm used to it. The Crown Prince grits his teeth. You two have a really good relationship. So good that I'm starting to ship you two. Soon, the group arrives outside the palace reception hall. The Crown Prince steps forward to request an audience with His Majesty. He is immediately summoned. Lit is freaking out. If the Duke applies to see His Majesty ... it takes 3 or 4 days to get permission. But if his son comes to see him, he agrees immediately. Jack comforts Miss. Quickly control your expression. If it doesn't work, just wear a gas mask. After entering the hall, they see the king sitting on the throne, yawning. As soon as he opens his eyes, he sees Lit. Son, why is Roxburgh in the palace? The Crown Prince is about to speak when he is interrupted by Lit. Then he rattles off a bunch of platitudes. Shut up. You talk as much as your father. Thank you for the compliment. The Emperor is speechless. I'm not complimenting you. I'm very busy. Get to the point. What is your purpose in bringing the Crown Prince to see me? However, the next second, his pupils dilate as he realizes. Wait a minute. Lit smirks triumphantly. Hey. Have you noticed? But it's too late. You're already sitting here. That person has also arrived at the palace. Go. It's your turn to appear. They see the Duke with William, already appearing outside the hall. The Emperor collapses. Roxburgh. He actually set foot in my palace. Royal Knights, attack immediately. Stop him now. William steps forward to block him. Duke, leave this to me. The Duke reveals an evil smile. Then I'll leave it to you. In the next second, the Duke kicks open the door. Then reveals a comforting smile. Leos, it's been 7 years and 9 months since we last met, hasn't it? The Emperor's crazed style suddenly changes. Gritting his teeth, he shouts, Edward. Roxburgh. Then the two strike a pose ready for a dragon-tiger battle. While Lit enthusiastically pulls out popcorn from who knows where. Manhwa woo-woo. Finally, I can watch a good show. Go, Daddy. Next episode, a heart-fluttering event. Roxburgh. The Duke versus King Leos in a battle of honor. Who will be the victor? Stay tuned. Edward, you heartless man. Didn't we agree never to see each other again in this lifetime? Don't worry. It's definitely not because I missed you that I came. Hehe. Don't think I can't see it just because you turned around. There's a clear red mark 2 centimeters below your left ear. Clearly, you just woke up. The Emperor still has his back to the Duke. That's still better than you. An overtime dog who never rests. Proper rest improves work efficiency. The Duke is very disdainful. You're just someone who eats, drinks, and shits all day. How dare you talk about efficiency? Rosalit and Crown Prince. Before you get infected by that bastard, quickly retreat 3 steps. Lit and the Crown Prince competitively and uncontrollably retreated 3 steps. We've instantly lost our sense of presence. Don't misunderstand. You never had a sense of presence. After saying that, the two start pulling each other's hair. Duke orders you to just stop fighting. The two quickly stand obediently. The Duke looks down at his watch. Oh dear. No time. Leos, I'm not like you. I'm busy every day. So let's get straight to the point. If you win, no matter what nonsense you say in the future, I will unconditionally agree. But if I win, give me the Baloki territory. The Emperor is very surprised. You bastard. You came to see me just for a mere territory. That's right, the Duke's expression is serious and earnest. This is very important. For us women. The Emperor uses his clever brain to think for a moment, then reveals a wicked smile. Okay, what do you want to bet on? Lit immediately looks at his evil face, really wants to give him the middle finger. The Duke raises 1 finger. The rules are simple. Even an idiot like you can understand. Let's bet, from now on, the next person to come here is a man or a woman. This is purely a test of luck. The Emperor chose man without thinking. The Duke turns around. Okay, then I'll guess woman. The Emperor secretly rejoices. Haha. Foolish Edward. The person meeting me later is my male finance minister. In the end, you're the clown. But in the next second, the Duke suddenly throws open the door and shouts with a strained voice. His Majesty the King is now critically ill. The court physician appears immediately. What happened? The Emperor collapses powerlessly to the ground. Damn it, I lost. What a despicable and shameless rogue woman. I will, as agreed, grant the Baloki territory to you. So, get out of here. Complete victory. This is the strength of the Roxburgh family. After returning to the mansion, immediately wrap Glenn in a blanket and throw him onto the carriage heading to the Baloki territory. Seeing the departing carriage, Lit suddenly feels a little sentimental. The scene of parting really makes him want to shed little pearls. Goodbye, my walking Excel baby. In the evening, Duke is teaching Lit the skill of writing a letter of repentance. After Lit writes it, he hands it to the Duke. Pass. To Duke Glenn. I have forgotten about you. Stuffing cotton in your chest. And I hereby appoint you as the new lord of the Baloki territory, hoping you can use your talents to manage the territory well, thereby smoothing out your wounded heart. Rosalit, respectfully. Duke complains, damn it. That's too straight. After all, you two are a couple. So can you be a little more sensual? To Duke Glenn. You broke my heart. How could you try to leave me? I don't want to see you ever again. Rosalit, respectfully. Loving you, this is too much like a resentful woman. Lit is speechless. Then please teach me personally. The Duke closes his eyes with satisfaction. This brat is actually so dependent on me. The so-called letter of repentance is not about the person writing it, but about thinking for the person reading it. You can't just write what you want to say, but you have to write what the other person wants to see. You're still too inexperienced. Unexpectedly, the Duke is just writing a letter of repentance for Lit, but at this moment, he looks particularly helpless and desolate, and even sheds tears with genuine emotion. The Duke has been sending letters of repentance to his father-in-law's house for 20 years. For 20 years. Until today. Lit finally understands the essence of it. Glenn also successfully receives the letter of repentance, sent from the Duke's mansion via flying kun. Glenn Hoven is 22 years old this year. He fainted during an argument with his fiancée. When he woke up, he found that he had become a lord of a territory, opening the heroic era that belongs to his leadership. The end. Thank you all for watching and enjoying this Diane Man series. We'll meet again if fate allows. He fooled you. The next episode disappeared. The chief protagonist's younger brother, reborn through several lifetimes, makes a reappearance. This guy's mind is full of his sister. The one who turned his sister into a body pillow is me. When I was just a baby, my mother abandoned me at the Duke's mansion. The Duke mercifully took me in. He not only provided for me, giving me food, clothing, and shelter, but also gave me something to do. I am extremely grateful to the Duke and vowed to be loyal to him no matter what. However, when I was 10 years old, I met the Duke's daughter for the first time. Startled, I accidentally splashed the dirty water from the mop on the young lady. I'm doomed now. But just as I was about to kneel and beg for forgiveness, Miss Light asked me with a puzzled look why I was crying. I committed an unforgivable sin. Who taught you to say that? You're so young. Why are you still working at this hour? I replied that the Duke saved my life, so I have to work here too. Repay him. But the young lady said that no matter what, children should be studying hard at this age. So the next day, the young lady directly sent me to a school under the Duke's name. There, I learned to read and do arithmetic. And I also had my own dream, which was to become Miss Light's butler. She gave me a second life, so I plan to dedicate my whole life to the young lady. This dream gave me motivation, even if I was harassed by the young lady's cousin. I never gave in. I turned this sorrow into strength and used it in my studies. I believe that one day I will fulfill my dream. However, one day when I was 16 years old, I learned a shocking secret. I am actually Miss Light's younger brother. She not only let me live in the Duke's family, but also executed Dylan, who often harassed me. My dream shattered at this moment. I wanted to become an excellent head butler, dedicated to assisting the young lady, accompanying her as she takes charge of the family. Even if the young lady gets married, I will stay by her side and dedicate my life to her. Decades later, when her husband passes away, I will make a handsome confession to Miss Light, who has returned to being single. Handsome confession. My life plan and grand dream. Aren't they great? I thought the young lady was just joking, but I didn't expect her to really treat me as a family member and even execute Dylan. But I quickly adapted to my new role. Actually, I really like being her younger brother, but there's one exception. That is, my sister is too unreserved with her own brother, right? I'm already 15 years old, only 1 year younger than my sister. If my sister always holds my hand, pats my head, and hugs me, I might die from an accelerated heartbeat. But I would still gladly accept it. Sister, I still want more. Although the dream of becoming the young lady's exclusive butler was shattered, I have a new dream. I want to cling to my sister as her younger brother. The more I act cute, the more my sister loves me. Then why not enjoy it? Indeed, being a younger brother is great. No one can interfere between me and my sister. But the dark day arrived. My sister actually proposed to Glenn Hoven. This man looks like a withered bean sprout. Who does he think he is? Why would he reject my sister? No, I should be happy. And that terrible executioner, Jack, that old bastard always ruins my plans, making me, the younger brother, lose my absolute advantage in my sister's eyes. Soon, I was replaced by 2 hateful stumbling blocks. The road to my dream is truly full of bumps. Just on the day my sister agreed to practice dancing with me every day, I was just acting spoiled as usual when that bastard Jack noticed me. Ever since he became my sister's guard, everything changed. I can't see my sister in the morning at all. It's rare to have a chance to sit next to my sister, but this bastard also took it away. It must be because I'm young and weak that he looks down on me. Just wait and see. One day, I will definitely become stronger than you and protect my sister closely. But why did it turn out like this? That bean sprout man is clearly incompetent. But why does my sister show that kind of smile to him? I couldn't figure it out. At this time, Xiao Kong happened to bring a glass of red wine. This is the first time I've ever had wine in my life. Maybe it's because the taste of the wine is too bitter. I couldn't help but shed tears. At the same time, I also made up my mind that I will never give up. So, kid, is that how you treat your sister? It is said that during a girl's most vulnerable days, don't mess with her. After Lily found out, she not only kept hitting her sister, but also vowed at the top of her lungs, I will definitely find a way to eliminate your period for you. Just now. Lily was lying weakly on the bed, speechless. Help! This is just a pure love novel. So the author doesn't need to add, the setting of the protagonist is having her period, right? Right? In other words, the content in the novel can be based on the author's wishes to delete unnecessary parts, just like a charming character. although they are vividly portrayed in the novel. There is no need to write about their daily eating, drinking, and bathroom routines. Right? Similarly, the protagonist emitting a dazzling light wave is certainly important, but there is no need to spell it out. He was just itching for it at that moment. It's okay if you didn't understand any of that. It's just the explanation to fill the time. Lit is covered in black lines, eating the apple Aster peeled for him. At this time, the old, rude, and deranged man barges in from outside. This great mage who has lost his memory is also Roselight's Thunderfall. Lit immediately gives him a helpless and disgusted look. Get out! But the teacher tells him, I have something very important to ask. He shouts excitedly, I heard you're sick. Are you really that sick? The next second, Aster's hand. Shibi hand captures Dizir Dajin. Wrong. I'm just kidding. If Xiangshui Market only has this version ... Actually, I really have something to ask you. Don't be surprised when you hear it. Actually, I'm being chased. The next second, two redheads in cloaks and blueheads suddenly burst into the room. Lit immediately gets angry. Who allowed you to come in? Sorry, we're chasing after the teacher. We accidentally barged in. However, we have received your letter. We heard you want to appoint the teacher as a duke, a researcher under the banner. Lit nods. That's right. The red and blue hairs look serious. Moda agreed. But for us who secretly protect the teacher, once the teacher has a home, we will be very troubled. Just because a level 6 mage is comparable to an army can be called a great mage. But Seer has reached level 7. If a level 7 invincible great mage joins a certain force, it will definitely cause an uproar, even trigger political problems. This is also Lit's reason for quickly bringing the teacher back. So if this causes harm to the magic tower, how will you deal with it? Lit snorts, you want to know. Aster, show them our strength. Golden light emerges from Aster's palm. Then several golden lightning bolts shoot out. The red and blue hairs look translated. Is it coming? Is it that old routine again? Then they shout, come on. The next second, a bribe wave is emitted from Aster's palm. Aster shouts hoarsely, take it. The two immediately change their style and make a ye sign. Then we won't bother you anymore. We will bear all the risks. We will definitely take good care of the teacher. Please rest assured. Then they quickly drag Zir away. Zir curses, you bastards. Lit waves with relief. The laboratory is ready. Someone will take you there. Just as Lit sighs that she can finally rest, Li En rushes into the room in tears. Sister, are you okay? Lit tells him not to worry. I just have a stomachache. Li En is very puzzled. Sister, why do you have a stomachache? Aster says, it's okay. I also have it occasionally, although there will be bleeding. But it's okay to supplement some nutrition. Hearing this, Li En is terrified. What? Sister is bleeding, but is annoyed for a while. The cafeteria doesn't know where to start explaining. Please, stop it. If this continues, I'm really going to go crazy. Li Yuan is very worried. He gently pats Lit on the body with his palm. Lit lies weakly on the bed, speechless. Lit coughs lightly. I'll be fine after resting for 2 days. Rather than that, it must be harder for you to work for me, right? Li En lowers his head shyly. It's okay. It's my honor to be able to share the work for my sick sister. On the contrary, it's my honor. Now that Glenn is not here, you must be even more tired. At this time, Lit sits up. Oh, Li En is really kind. But sister has a request. During the time you work for me, if anyone asks where I went, just say I'm on my period and resting. No need to explain further. Li En's eyes are full of heartache. Okay, I promise you. Then Aster pulls Li En to go out. Li En turns back and shouts reluctantly, Sister, even if sister gives up, I will never give up. Don't worry. I will definitely find a way to eliminate your period for you. Even if it means being crushed to pieces, I will definitely do it. So please don't give up. Aster can't listen anymore. He drags Li En out of the room silently. Just like that, Lit takes the medicine and finally has a good night's sleep. The next day, the maids are stunned. Lit, even though in pain, is determined to stand up because today is the party hosted by the Shader group. It's a chance to see the handsome third prince again. The third prince. Let's go to the party together. The maids persuade her with tears. Please think twice, miss. If you mess around, something might happen. Lit says coldly, stop talking nonsense. The next second, she looks like she's having a flashback. My body is fine. However, at the banquet, she finally sees the third prince. Lit only wants to flirt with him. This girl, even if she's in so much pain, still wants to go to the banquet, just to see the chocolate big milk. After learning this, Luke admires her for you. A crisis is the greatest opportunity, right? That's right, although I am weak now. And pitiful. But crisis represents opportunity. This is the style of the Loxberg family. I must sow misery to regain the third prince's favor. After listening, Luke claps perfunctorily. I see. Then there is an awkward silence. Lit is puzzled. Why don't you seem excited at all? Luke touches his head in a panic. Haha. It's okay. At this time, Li-en appears on the side and asks with a worried face, Sister, why have you come? Immediately surprised by Li-en's arrival. Little did they know, Luke was secretly sneaking away behind them. He quickly ran to Li-en's side. Grabbing his hand, Li-en, you look so cute today. Wearing a light cyan swallowtail coat. Wiggling your devilish figure. Like you're sashing over with a secret belt. As beautiful as a sacred angel. But why have you come? Isn't the guest of honor at the banquet me? Li-en pretended to be ignorant and pouted. His little but wiggling, looking clueless. After Lit's little brain short-circuited for 999 seconds. Jack, bring that red-haired bastard over here. The next second, Jack used his 40-meter-long arm to grab Luke by the hair. Then dragged him back to Lit and made him kneel. Luke Shatter, I invited you to the royal banquet for the travel contract. Luke hurriedly explained. Young Master Li-en said that Miss Lit was unwell and that he should attend in your place. So I was just following orders. Then Li-en suddenly appeared behind Lit, muttering to himself with his head down. Menstrual pain isn't a disease, but it's deadly when it hurts. Then he roared. Can't you be good to yourself? Can't you think more about us? Who care about you? The above scene is purely imaginary. In reality, Li-en was just timidly apologizing to Lit. Lit said it was okay. I'm fine now. You should go home and continue working. Then she turned and left. Li-en still wanted to dissuade her. Even if I stay up all night, I will finish the work. But the most important thing now is, before he could finish, Lit interrupted sharply. Are you trying to disobey my orders? A rare, cold expression. That made Jack and Luke feel the pressure. Li-en trembled and dared not argue any further. He quickly bowed to Lit and apologized. I'm sorry. I'll go back now. Lit snapped open her folding fan and held it in front of her collar. That's right. No matter how cute you are, I won't allow you to overstep your bounds. At this moment, Luke suddenly handed over a wooden stick. Miss Lit, remember to hold this steady. Just as Lit was asking what this was, Third Prince Sang's familiar and dazzling figure appeared beside them. His face was flushed, and he was sweating. A few crystal-clear drops of sweat were constantly sliding from his generous and wealthy chest muscles. Such a dazzling shockwave made Lit and Luke exclaim they couldn't handle it. They firmly planted the wooden stick in the ground to prevent being blown away. It's a trap. It's all a trap. I will never fall for it. But the next second, Lit's pupils dilated as she realized. What did he just say? He actually said he's been paying attention to Li-en this whole time. The third prince turned his head with ill intentions, looking at the innocent Li-en. This banquet is going to be quite enjoyable. Lit gritted her teeth and cursed, I'll go to you. You stinky smoked chicken. Then she brought over a table from who knows where and flipped it over. Give me a break. What the hell is this stupid comic? Then she quickly pulled Li-en into her arms, holding the wooden stick as a warning. Are you blind? Can't you do something human? Li-en is still a child. This pervert, go die. Even if you show your chest, it won't work. Get out of here. The above scene is also an imaginary moment. Instead, Lit blocked her almost breaking expression with a professional fake smile. What you said makes sense. But then he replied, some official duties are temporarily keeping me busy, and the person representing the Tool family to attend this banquet is me, the third prince. His eyes were full of disappointment and reluctance. Lit endured until the veins on her forehead bulged. We've only known each other for a few hours, and you're already putting on a scene of life and death separation with me. Did you feed your conscience to the dogs? Just as the two were at a stalemate, Li-en stepped forward to smooth things over. Okay, won't everything be fine as long as I leave? So please stop arguing. Lit immediately shielded Li-en behind her. If you threaten me, I advise you to stay away from him. Unexpectedly, the third prince ignored Lit's warning. He squeezed between the two in one stride. My dear, the first time I met you, I realized you were a kind person. Lit's face contorted. My dear, you dare call him my dear? Jack and Luke were watching the show from the side. Luke said with glee, Did you see that? Miss Lit actually broke her fan with one hand. Looks like someone's going to be in big trouble. Amen. May God bless him. Then Amen charged forward, sliding and getting up, wanting to stop this farce. The next second, Jack pinned him to the ground. Quick, help! Luke bared his teeth. Okay, I'll listen to you. At this moment, Lit suddenly sneezed loudly. Leanne immediately turned around, very worried. Sister, are you all right? Lit secretly rejoiced at her successful scheme. See that? No one can resist the charm of a weak woman. Not even Leanne is an exception. Jealous, angry, annoyed. Hey. This is the difference between you and me. I call this move winning without a fight. Then Lit trembled and sneezed again. The next second, a powerful stab grazed the third prince's full butt. Then Lit weakly fell to the ground. Miracle thrust grazed the third prince's full butt. Lit shouted, thrust away all desires, and cut off all impurities. She made one last pose and fell to the ground, trembling weakly. I'm sorry. It's all because of the sneeze. Leanne stepped forward worriedly and reached out his hand. Sister, I'll help you up now. Then the two put on a show of deep sibling affection in front of everyone. Third Prince Wu was overjoyed. Wait a minute. Wasn't I almost killed by him just now? Unexpectedly, Light opened his bloody mouth again. The third prince panicked. No way. You little rat, here you come again. Unexpectedly, Light just sneezed weakly. What's going on? Could it be that I saw it wrong? The third prince walked up to Light. Miss, let me help you up. Unexpectedly, the next second, a dagger accompanied Light's sneeze. It brushed past the third prince and stuck straight into the ground. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I grabbed a rope. I didn't expect it to be a dagger. Leanne and the third prince were so scared that they broke out in cold sweats. At this time, Zin and Jack Wong are tied up. Luke, who is playing, shouted angrily from the side. You did it on purpose. Every move you make is carefully designed. Light angrily said, shut up. This is called a conditioned reflex. The third prince stood up and bid farewell. Continuing will cause trouble for the guests. I'll go back first. By the way, Leanne, if you have time in the future, can I visit you at the Duke's mansion? Light's eyes were about to crack, but in Yakong's perspective, with his own filter, it turned into sister. Even though she's feeling very unwell, she's still trying hard to hold on for the sake of face. Since I insisted on coming to the banquet on my own, I definitely can't embarrass the Lee family. So, Leanne raised a forced smile that didn't embarrass the Lee family. Then you are always welcome. Your Highness the Prince. The next second, Leanne was suddenly. Aster knelt on the ground in the dark. Others would think that. You are the master of the Roxburgh Duke's family? Leanne hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry, sister. I misspoke. Originally, Light was the guest invited by the Shadow Group to attend. If you anger the third prince of the Empire at will, it may evolve into an international dispute. This is also why Light didn't press him to the ground and repeatedly rub him. But Leanne dared to ignore Light's existence as the heir and publicly agreed to the prince's request. It's like slapping Light in the face in public. If Aster hadn't stepped forward in time, Light would have probably turned this place upside down. As expected, Aster knows me best. The third prince loudly condemned Miss Light from the side. You're going too far. Leanne is the Duke's son. He has every right to decide whether to receive me. Then he squatted down and wanted to help Leanne up. Leanne, get up. You don't have to suffer this humiliation. The next second, Leanne slapped his hand away hard and warned him with a cold expression. You don't need to care about me. Willing to accept sister's punishment, the third prince was very hurt inside. At this time, Light walked up to Leanne. Your Highness the Prince is an important envoy of a country. A distinguished guest like you is not someone that just anyone can receive. Even my brother can't. As long as I'm still in the Duke's family for one day, the only person who can entertain you is me. So you have to abide by the etiquette. Your Highness the Prince. After hearing this, the third prince stood up abruptly. Then he pulled Leanne to leave. Leanne, let's go. Let me entertain you. Aster pulled Leanne away from his hand. Your Highness the third prince, I'm sorry. Light then chose to quickly end this boring farce. Your Highness, please continue to enjoy the party. Leanne is from our family. Lee should be by us. To take Lee ran away. Let's go. The third prince, whose face was lost, was furious. Miss Roxburgh, I really didn't expect you to be such an unsympathetic person. Light then stopped. That's right. But please remember, this unsympathetic person, I am very fond of His Highness Marius. Then see you later. Then he left the third prince standing there. angrily starting. Then he took his subordinates and left in anger. While Light was getting angry, Luke awkwardly accompanied him for a drink. I ruined this fireworks display. It seems I have to compensate you well. But Light was just regretting endlessly. It seems my relationship with Chocolate Big Boobs ends here. At this time, a familiar soprano came from the side. Light rolled his eyes speechlessly. Which bastard is calling Miss Ben's nickname? The girl was still playing close with the male Bodhisattva a while ago, but now she's fighting him for her brother. While she was sad that her relationship with Chocolate Big Boobs had come to an end, a familiar voice came from behind. The man was actually Light's nemesis, the first princess, Grace Elaine. Instantly, Light switched from berserk mode to polite mode. Oh, why is Her Highness the 4th exhibition princess here? Your beautiful and generous demeanor really amazes me. Then he gave the other party a curtsy. Rose Light greets you. The first princess crossed her arms in disdain and said TCH. You're really glib. And what's with 4th exhibition princess? Light chuckled. Your reaction is really slow. Then he stretched out his hand and compared it to the first princess's height. 1, 2, 3, 4, a total of 4 lamps. See, am I wrong? The first princess faced Light and gave him a light speed spinning kick. You still have the nerve to talk. Light jumped around, clutching his injured knee. Ouch, it hurts. Why did I have to stir up trouble? But the princess's reaction is so funny. This little pain is nothing. But Light was very puzzled. Why are you here? I am Marius's date. Light fell into deep thought. Wait, are you saying, who is the Marius I know? Of course, the first princess was still not showing off enough. Showing off that blinding diamond ring of hers. The third prince is my escort, because we're engaged. Right, Dakin? What kind of bizarre combination is this? This is too sudden. Why is this happening? The great princess proudly raised her chin 45 degrees. Isn't it obvious? It's definitely because I'm beautiful. Otherwise, His Highness wouldn't have proposed to me. You have no idea how considerate His Highness is. Right gritted her teeth, enduring it again and again. Your man has long been captivated by Li En. And the reason he was surprised after seeing them engaged was because that man in every reincarnation proposes to someone from our country. The first time was Li En. The second time was also Li En. They even got married the second time. The third time was Right herself. But after Li En passed away, their relationship fell apart. Although in 22 reincarnations, he's only been engaged to people from other countries 4 times. The third prince's behavior is truly suspicious. And this time, the engagement is with our country's princess. Your Highness, I advise you to stay away from the third prince. As soon as she finished speaking, Grace loudly retorted, on what basis? What are you plotting? Confess now. Could it be that you're jealous of me? Because you're not getting along with your fiancé. You're quite cute when you're being a tsundere. Right was speechless. At this moment, sharp pains suddenly came from her stomach and waist. She finally couldn't hold on any longer and collapsed to her knees. The princess and Aster were shocked. Aster quickly knelt down to support her. Wright's voice was full of worrying. Miss, are you all right? Should we go back first? The great princess also asked worriedly, what's wrong? Wright forced herself to stand up, weakly saying, I'm fine. You don't need to worry. I'm sorry for what I said just now. You two are a match made in heaven. But the next second, she coughed up 300 asterisk gin asterisk of blood. Amidst everyone's exclamations, Wright trembled and looked up. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. It's okay. Anyway, my time is limited. If you speak the truth, maybe my illness will be cured immediately. But don't worry about it. This is just my insignificant last words. I'll talk, okay? The great princess swallowed. Actually, Wright was very anxious. Hurry up and say it. Otherwise, this episode won't end. Unexpectedly, a figure suddenly appeared before them. Interrupting the great princess's speech, I'm sorry, sister. I really can't stand it anymore. As your younger brother, how could I possibly watch my sister suffer so much? Then he shouted loudly, I hope her period disappears soon, causing the scene to become extremely awkward. The great princess grabbed Wright's collar. You're quite the actor. Haha, thank you for the compliment. Thus, the reconnaissance plan was declared a failure. Wright could only drag his tired body home. At this time, he discovered that Jack was rarely not wearing his gas mask. Jack then shook the mask in his hand. I have other uses for it later. You'll find out soon enough. The next second, the mask was thrown straight at John's face. The great princess crossed her arms and said arrogantly, none of you from the Roxburgh family are good people. What kind of tricks are you playing? Couldn't you just ask me directly? Seeing you acting so hard, I couldn't let you go home empty-handed, could I? Then her eyes filled with helplessness and sadness. Actually, the reason I got engaged to him was to cure my eyes, because I heard that the Pope of the Largodi Kingdom has a way to cure my eye disease. As night fell, the four people sat in the carriage heading back to the mansion, each with their own thoughts. My sister is probably going to hate me for the rest of her life, no matter what. I shouldn't have been so violent towards young Master Lee and in public. Damn it, it's all my fault for being careless. I'll definitely get revenge on John next time. Wright was completely puzzled. It's also to cure her eyes. Why does the third prince have to find someone from the Empire? The four of them sighed in unison. At the same time, Glenn, who was far away, also let out a sigh. Lord, this is an urgent letter from the Duke of Roxburgh's family. First, there's the loving father's legacy of chopping off his daughter's 1.8-meter nose with a hand chop. Then, there's the loving father's gentle guidance. If you have something to say it. If you have to fart, do it quickly. If not, get lost. What a touching scene of filial piety. You unfilial daughter, you're blocking me from feeding the pigeons. Get out of the way. Wright was heartbroken. Is this the attitude you have when you see your invincible, adorable daughter? Then she turned around and left with Astor. I want to host the third prince at the mansion. My fart is done. Goodbye. The next second, the Duke grabbed her. Explain the reason. A moment later, Duke Kwantu Shingjuk, who learned of the situation, said, it seems this marriage is indeed related to the Pope. After all, our country doesn't have priests. So-called priests, simply put, are magicians with healing abilities. Just like how Wright's master's magical power turned into lightning attribute after being struck by lightning as a child. You can also obtain related attributes in the same way. But if you want to obtain healing magic, you must have sincere faith. Wright's country advocates materialism, and the people have a disdainful attitude towards religion. On the other hand, the Largodi Empire, because of the existence of the Pope, can use healing magic to display so-called miracles. But if it's really that effective, that old fart shadow would have cured his diabetes long ago. So there must be something fishy going on. The three of them immediately struck a Chinabu pose. Let's play a feint. Lit recites the lines without emotion. What is the operation target? Well, the third prince is visiting. Send someone to turn the royal VIP room upside down. Perfect. So, Lit starts writing an invitation to the third prince. As for the reason for inviting him, of course, it's not to admire her sexy figure in a secret and closed place, but to ruin her engagement with the first princess. She has to use some unconventional methods to get from the third prince his purpose of approaching the kingdom's high-level officials, and what role he plays in it, and whether he is confident in his figure, etc. Related information, then grab some handles and pin a few black pots, and finally deport him. At this time, the maid suddenly pushed the door open and shouted, Miss, a letter has arrived. Lit is overjoyed, really. That's right, this is the soft and fragrant personal reply from Lord Glenn. Give it to me quickly. Why are you only telling me now? I've sent dozens of self-criticism letters during this time, but this is the first time I've received a reply. Unexpectedly, there are only a few short lines on it, requesting, please send to the mountainous area. A soldier with good legs. Lit is speechless. Is he really perfectly trained by his father into this? Say what you need to say, and fart if you need to fart. If there's nothing else, get lost, good boy. Although it's a bit of a pity. But since I received his request for support, I can't ignore it. It seems that only that person can take on this important task. He is Will Blang's subordinate. This kid will do anything to achieve his goals. Commonly known as trash among trash, relying on Will's years of investigation and tracking, and his father's gentle and kind methods, he successfully recruited Frodo to his command. This kind of person is perfect for dealing with those bandit groups. It's just that. Is remembering Glenn's cold words with only requests. Lit still feels very disappointed. He's really cold to me. But even so, he still added a loving little star at the end. Then he called Astor to send the letter. Unexpectedly, as soon as Astor opened the door, he saw Lean fall to the ground, posing in a way that even a straight man couldn't think of, trembling and saying, ... Hello, Lit said helplessly. Come in quickly. What are you standing there for? Looking at his hesitant and shy appearance, he should have completed the adult education class. It seems you now understand what the affairs between men and women are, right? Lean's face turned pale. I don't have the courage to come to you. It seems this kid is still blaming himself for the deadly scene at the banquet. Lit decided to give him a chance to repent. So what are you here for? Can you tell me, who is the VIP we are going to entertain this time? Prince Marius? Are you satisfied? Lean is very worried. Why would His Highness come here? Then what are you going to talk to him about? Lit, who is not on the same channel, is confused. Of course, it's about the engagement. Lean is directly scared into a world-famous flower emoji. Engagement? And with the third prince? That's right, I was shocked at the time too. Lean's eyes suddenly become firm. If that's the case, then please let me be the one to receive the third prince. Lit jumped over the desk in fright. No, what if you mess it up again? Under Lean's persistent requests, the kind and beautiful Lit still softened. If that's the case, then let's switch scenes directly. A few days later, in the morning, Luke accompanied the third prince to the scene. Chocolate big milk, these rich pectoral muscles, who wouldn't say? Confused, unexpectedly next, Yaiko couldn't bear the 1,000-ton pressure on the third prince's chest and was directly blown away, thousands of meters away. The two perverts started the Yaiko chase. Race. This is a button that can identify a man's innocence. Whenever a man walks in front of him, he will order a world-famous dish for the other party. Sujai is so disgusting. Just now, the third prince, with the appearance of an old cadre, said that this place is really good. Luke nodded in agreement. It's really good. But he slandered in his heart. But your muscles are not bad either. The Hood family had already posed in front of the door in advance. Welcome to the Duke of Roxburgh's mansion. Seeing Lean, the third prince's face turned red. Thank you for your hospitality. It's really touching. Lit warmly welcomed, of course. Let's get hyped up today, okay? Then he raised his eyes and frantically peeked at the third prince. Although you are a beautiful muscular man, your highness, but no matter what, you can't dress so casually, right? The buttons on your chest are about to burst. The buttons are desperately resisting. The high pressure on the third prince's chest. For the master, we will never give up. Lit wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes with great relief. Buttons, I and the audience will never forget your efforts. Then he reminded Lean, let's start now. Lean handed the third prince a manual. This is a reception process specially customized for him and Luke. The content was written by Lit, and the illustrations were done by Lean. How about it? Is my brother's painting skill great? Hearing Lit's praise, Lean blushed and said modestly, sister, you flatter me. Unexpectedly, the third prince trembled and couldn't help but burst into laughter. Hey ha ha. This is so cute. Hey ha ha. This is so cute. The resulting body shaking made the tight buttons almost unable to hold on. Hold on, my dear Atudo. Mommy's calling me. I can't hold it anymore. I'm going to explode. This is an impossible mission. It seems my dear brother has already started to ramble. In any case, we must hold on to the last line of defense. Then, Brother Button is reborn. If the shirt becomes loose, will you feel better? Brother immediately understood Big Brother's intention. He shouted hoarsely, no, no. Big Brother, don't do this, Big Brother. But a glorious look appeared on Big Brother's face, and a sacred smile. I'm entrusting the master to you from now on. I am happy to be a button. Only a caw-caw sound was heard. Brother Button heroically sacrificed himself. He was directly ejected from the third prince's chest, and then bounced off Lit's steel-like tender face, all the way across the ceiling of the room. Luke's 2.8-meter nose, Aster and Jack's preemptive defensive gear, prepared as it passed the mansion's handrails, and finally landed in the flower bushes outside the room. What is the total distance the ball button traveled in meters? After Brother Button gloriously completed his mission, he lay in the dirt and was able to rest in peace. The third prince covered his chest, stunned. What a hearty ejection. Lit and Luke appeared to be silent, but in reality, they were already observing each other, ready to go. The next second, the duo seemed to have gone mad, chasing each other. That's mine. Miss Lit, please mind your image. I'll keep this button safe. Shut up. Do you know the rules? You're just trying to hog it all to yourself. What are you pretending for? Everyone, get him. The next second, Aster and Jack captured Luke, who was still struggling. Don't you trust me that much? We are the best partners. You guys, don't underestimate the bond between us. Seeing that the sob story was useless, Luke instantly stopped his crocodile tears. If you don't hand over the button, I will expose the Duke's insurance fraud case to the public. Since that's the case, then I can only reveal your tent. Unexpectedly, Lee En spoke up from the side. Sister, don't worry. I found it. Looking at Lee En holding the button in his hands, looking very precious. The third prince's face turned black and then red again. Lit and Luke were very regretful. Jack was speechless. These lunatics. I really can't stand it anymore. Aster calmly comforted. Just get used to it. Lee En was acting like a spoiled wife. preparing to sew the button onto the third prince. Lit and Luke were about to be unable to resist the power of the novel's protagonist. Even the gods must surrender. It's too dangerous. I have to stop him. Unexpectedly, the third prince revealed an evil smile. The next second, he actually opened his clothes. Then, let me see your skills. Lit was shocked. His eyeballs suddenly popped out of their sockets. The commentator was also shocked and started rambling. Another climax, increasing my workload. Under the third prince's charm, the Roselight tribe. After a series of reception procedures, Lit was unable to calm down for a long time. He could only sigh, muscles are the best. Finally, it was dinner time. Now, Lit is about to officially begin his plan. He then ordered the maid to be sure to prepare that thing. The remaining two were very puzzled. What is that thing? That thing is the most important thing. In a normal banquet, unexpectedly, the three of them then started acting out a random scene. Girl, who was still playing big breasts with the male bodhisattva a while ago, is now forced to be between him and his brother, playing randong. Lit was shocked. Can the following plot be explained? At this time, Will had successfully infiltrated the royal palace's VIP room. Although these books in the room are very common in the religiously devout Largodi kingdom, the keen-eyed Will still discovered the clues. It seems that these are not ordinary books. He rushed to report to the Duke. The sacred book of the Empire State religion should only have 6 chapters. Its core idea is to persuade people to do good, but the third prince's sacred book actually hides the forbidden 7th chapter. Those who do not believe in the one true God will face the end. In other words, those who do not believe in the great minds of the creator god Jobu will all go to hell. This also means that the third prince is a heretic, and the reason why heretics approach the royal family and high-ranking officials is only one. He wants to spread a heresy in the kingdom. It wouldn't be a big problem if only the third prince, a great mind, believed in it. What the Duke is more worried about is, what if he involves Largo, the emperor's favorite? The first prince, Logius, the two countries may trigger a bloody war. Will asked, aren't we in imminent danger now? Unexpectedly, the Duke confidently stood at his desk. Roselight is the successor I have carefully cultivated. In his eyes, dealing with the stupid third prince is as easy as eating a plate of roast chicken. At the same time, on Lit's side, the maid just happened to bring up a plate of roast chicken. Everything is proceeding according to Lit's exquisite and flawless plan. Lit smiled evilly. I don't believe anyone can keep a secret. In the aroma of roast meat, and the dreamy rhythm, and the tipsy state, to the end. I want some too. But the next second, Lit put on the sleeve 2-piece set on him. Okay, go back and rest. It's not a good habit for her to stay late. Unexpectedly, a familiar big black hand handed a glass of wine to Li En. According to your country's laws, people over the age of 15 are allowed to drink alcohol appropriately. I understand your good intentions as a sister, but Li En drinking doesn't violate the law, does it? Haha, just a cunning little boy. Li Tae intentionally snatched the wine glass from Li En's hand. Sorry, Li En hasn't participated in the coming-of-age ceremony yet, and is still just a child at heart. Just as the two were at a stalemate, Li En tore off his pajamas and pitifully begged his sister, can I have a glass of wine? The atmosphere between the four gradually became tense. Aster and Jack were on the side, preparing the lighting for Luke. Why, do you also have a part to say? No? I just want to act a little coy. The helpless Li Tae was very helpless. Aster a sigh, okay? But I'll only allow you one glass. Li En happily jumped into Li Tae's arms. Hey, thank you, sister. Then the four of them sat down and started drinking freely. Li Tae was very confident. After all, the alcohol they were drinking had a concentration of 233 degrees. He believed that it wouldn't be long before everyone got drunk. That way, he could easily get the third prince's secret. Unexpectedly, the third prince's next greeting directly broke his defense. Miss Li Tae, I heard from Li En that you and your fiancé have parted ways. Li Tae could only adjust her mentality and explain with a smile that these were just misunderstandings. My darling fiancé is just temporarily out traveling to a place rife with thieves. Haha, that's because he said he likes excitement. So he chose a challenging place. The third prince couldn't help but recall what Li Tae had said at the banquet, that her fiancé was particularly energetic at night. This was indeed confirmed by Luke. Not only is he powerful in a certain aspect, but he's also a man who goes to fight with a gang of thieves for excitement. At this moment, Glenn's image in the third prince's eyes became even taller. The third prince turned to Luke in surprise. Could it be that you already knew all this? Unexpectedly, the next second, Luke slumped on the sofa, lying down, drooling and unconscious. Li Tae was also very surprised. No wonder Luke looked so embarrassed when he got the strong liquor earlier. Turns out he's a lightweight. That's good too. Now all I have to do is get the third prince drunk. Unexpectedly, after 800 cups, the third prince still had an enjoyable and unfulfilled look. On the contrary, Li Tae's eyes were already glazed over, barely holding on. By the way, Your Highness, I heard that you and Princess Grace are engaged. Is that true? The third prince suddenly understood. So that's how it is. No wonder you've been blaming me all along. Li Tae cursed inwardly, but on the surface, she was as gentle as a spring breeze. Ha ha ha. After all, people my age love to hear gossip the most. Unexpectedly, the next second, the third prince actually unbuttoned his collar on his own. I feel a little hot. Are you so curious about my engagement? Li Tae, whose face was turning blue, couldn't listen anymore. She stiffly watched the third. What to do? If this continues, this is not a plot that a comic book commentary can release. The Duke, whose home was being stolen, was still leisurely fishing. Are you really not going back to take a look? It's okay. Actually, I've always been proud of my daughter. I love her more than pigeons, because she is a strong-willed and willful child. Don't worry. The third prince will definitely be completely controlled by her in this matter. Little did he know that his precious daughter was the one being controlled. Li Tae shouted for help in her heart. Who can save me? If this continues, am I really going to act out a random with them? The narrator said she knows you don't like to watch it, so let's skip it directly. Unexpectedly, after waking up, Aster was actually acting out random with Li Tae. The night before, the girl was still playing with the two of them. But when she woke up in the morning, the people in bed had changed. Li Tae was very surprised. Wasn't I just at the banquet? How am I lying in the same bed with them now? Her head buzzing, she was very panicked. What exactly happened yesterday? Could it be that I had a blackout? Wouldn't there be some scenes that can't be broadcast during this time? So, unable to accept reality, someone quickly used lightning element to launch an electrotherapy shockwave to force herself to remember. The weak current coming from her fingertips stimulated her fresh brain. With a pop sound, Roselight's central nervous system began to operate. Master is awake. Everyone, take your positions and start playing yesterday's memories. It turned out that just last night, Li Tae was holding hands with the third prince, about to kiss, at the critical moment, but was interrupted by her unlucky younger brother, Li An. Sister, are you drunk? In the end, the two who had their good time interrupted. Naturally had nothing happen. Unexpectedly, on the way back, Li Tae took a fancy to the delicious Aster at a glance, and looked at her delicious younger brother, Feig. She hugged the two of them tightly and fell on the bed. Haha. Today, you have to sleep with me? After Li Tae finished watching this non-existent memory, her face was full of shock. Then she quickly jumped out of bed, followed by a sprint, hurry up, I'm going to be late, mixed with Lilai. Your Highness, he's already left. But he left you a letter. Li Tae snatched it over and took a look. It was from Luke himself. Miss Li Tae, I had a lot of fun last night, but I didn't want to disturb you since you were sleeping so soundly. By the way, I ran into the Duke before I left. He said he was in a very good mood and hopes to have a good chat with you after you wake up. Some people seem unresponsive, but they've actually been gone for a while. Immediately lowered his head, meekly, Duke. Actually, it's all good. The plan failed, right? Well, someone was still sleeping soundly on their butt. This busy person has already helped wipe their butt. Lit broke out in a cold sweat. What did you help me with? Of course, I remember the security meeting. Then the Duke handed him a page. Take a look. This is a copy of the third prince's holy book. Lit was very surprised. This is actually the chapter of the end. That's right. It seems that the Nargodi kingdom is preparing to go to war with us. So we opened an emergency meeting. After we gave Leos the brain damage medicine, Bicky came up with a countermeasure. If the third prince is a religious follower, then the first prince, who is close to him, must also be involved. If we provoke the orthodox fourth prince to become enemies with them, then the empire will definitely call the third prince back. In this way, his engagement with the princess will also fall through. The fourth chapter of the Imperial Holy Book records that a certain Black Witch who suddenly appears will bring heavy disaster to the entire world. So we have Descenda, woman in a black dress. Lit was very excited after hearing this. That's right, then. The superstitious empire will fall into chaos, and then find evidence that the Pope cannot cure his eye disease, and it will be foolproof. So who are you going to send? Unexpectedly, the Duke took a sip of new wine and said, Of course, it's you. Lit pointed to himself in confusion. Why me? I'm giving you a chance to make up for it. Since you've been played like a fiddle, you have to fight back, right? After a moment of silence, Lit agreed with the Duke's statement. Recently, he always felt that he was very passive. Whether at banquets or when drinking, he couldn't control the situation. Suddenly, a feeling of displeasure surged into Lit's heart. I was actually manipulated by a greenhorn. Are you kidding me? What's even more annoying is that I've been flirting with him for so long and haven't even kissed him. Lit immediately flicked his dark silver hair. No problem. Watch me go over there and play him to death. I have already prepared the ship for you. Go back and prepare well. Lit asked, then when will I leave? The Duke looked at his watch and said. Lit grinned. Heh. There are still 5 days. Then there's still plenty of time. I'm going to take all the black dresses with me. Unexpectedly, the Duke continued to look at his watch and blurted out 4. Then, to Lit's shock, he blurted out 3 the next second. Lit violently kicked open the door and rushed out. Why didn't you say so earlier? And so, the group boarded the ship to the Empire.